Hello, beautiful pheasants, and welcome into the tavern. I got a lot of stuff planned today. We'll see how much actually gets done, but the goals are high. We'll see. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Wednesday, and that puts us halfway through the week already. My goodness. All right. If you're new around here, hello, my name is Mia, and I sculpt tabletop minis for a living. These are all designed to be 3D printed. You can print them nice and big if you want, but most people print them in 28mm scale for D&D, Pathfinder, Gloomhaven, whatever flavor you like. So that's what we're doing today. So I make some special considerations as I sculpt here with 3D printing in mind. I've just recently passed 1,000 models between characters, creatures, and terrain, so I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two, but we're always about improving around here. So if you guys have questions or tips or inspiration, always feel free to share. Alrighty. Hello to Paint, David, of course my lovely mods, Reaper and Loa, Yoni, and Ray. Welcome in. So kind of a fun thing, my goal for every stream is to have 10 viewers and then hopefully maintain those 10. And now I start my streams with over 10. I don't know if I should update my goal or just be really happy that I hit my goal every day. I'm just gonna be really happy I hit my goal every day. We're gonna go with that. All right, let's get into the question of the day and the freebie. Question of the day, this is in our Discord. If you want to vote, jump in our Discord. If you're not in the Discord, ask for an invite, we'll give you one. What has been your most memorable D&D experience? Nail-biting combat encounters? Fun party antics? Creative problem solving? That is why I play D&D. Long-standing storylines finally paying off? We rarely finish campaigns. Whatever groups I've been in tend to move across the country, and that kind of makes things difficult. A devastating player death? It wasn't a player death, but it was a PC. So it was this little adorable kobold. I legit teared up. I was also kind of emotional that day. Random NPC encounter getting out of hand. Those are memorable, but usually in a bad way, so I'm not going to vote for that. But there we go. You're also welcome to share your stories and antics in the chat. We already have people talking about it in Discord. All right, next up is the freebie. This is a free 3D printable model that I share every single day. Like, it's a different model every day. I feel the need to specify. And today it is a bunch of barrels. You know, maybe not the most thrilling, exciting one, but it prints without supports. And you know what? Sometimes it just makes for a great scatter terrain piece. If you want to download this, go to the link in the description. My Patreon has that. Or just go to Discord and click on this. Alrighty. Today we're hanging out in Project Reference, Flower Power. We're going to finish the dragon today. So, here we go. Hey, Grimnir's here too. Welcome in. And Satyr. Reaper, it's their first day on the job. They're nervous. Oh, you got this. You're going to be fantastic. Yeah. Oh, we also have a stream recap channel slowly forming together. Bam. Oh, not slowly. Aloha's already updated it. We have a Monday and a Tuesday. So you can then look at this and just kind of see, okay, on Tuesday I did this, on Monday I did this. If you want to watch it, click on this link here and it brings you to every stream I've ever done. So yeah, looking good. Why do I feel so out of breath? What? Okay. Satyr says, I was the first one here. Were you? Did I totally miss your comment? You're joking. Okay, I see that now. Yeah, it's simple and totally does the job. I love it. Awesome, awesome. I don't know why I feel so out of breath. I'm just gonna sit here for a second. Instead of jumping right, it's probably because of the dragon. I'm just like, it's got me worried. Which I shouldn't be. Like, this is the easiest part of the model. It's pretty much done. We're gonna put a bunch of fungus on it. That's gonna look like flower petals. Just trust me. And it's gonna be great. But for some reason right now, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not breathing. Satyr says, me, I wasn't joking. I just didn't comment. I let people feel special with the first comment. Aw, that's very good mod behavior. You know, I think you liked the stream though, because I noticed that Paint said first, but there was 2 likes on the stream, so I was like, someone else is here. I bet that was you. Speaking of, like the stream. It really helps me out. Aloha says, I'm so happy with all the work I put into Discord. It visually looks so fun. It really does. And more than just looking fun, it's like functional. Ha, you put the fun in functional. We're extra lame today. Sater says, yeah, I opened the stream at 11:33. Busted. That makes more sense. Did you have a good weekend? Did you do anything fun for Memorial Day weekend? I know most people are really getting back to work today, even if they were technically in the office yesterday. Why is there a screenshot? 1 like. On my side, I have different stats that I see. YouTube, what they show, like what's happening versus like what I see on my side, it is never the same. But yes, since you guys are here, like the stream. It makes a big difference. And that being said, if you don't update or refresh your page, it won't like live update, so don't you worry. It's true. I was afraid you were sick today with how late you announced the stream. No, I actually did the same thing yesterday too. Recently, as of yesterday, I've been starting the streams later because I have been front loading my days with work. So that way when I'm done with the stream, I'm totally done with work for the day, which is nice. This morning was a bit odd though. So speaking of small personal life update, there's nothing quite like doing barn chores. You walk out and my horse is out there and he's standing weird. He's holding his foot weird. I'm like, you hurt yourself, didn't you? And I straight up, he like straightens his legs out and I'm like, nope, I know something's wrong. So I walk all the way back. I grab all my kit. I come back, I tie him up. And sure enough, he is like 3-legged lame. I'm like, and lame just a way for saying a horse that isn't walking normal or moving normal. So he's limping. That's the fancy word for it. Anyway, I'm like, okay. I think it's an abscess coming through, but it's a hoof, so it's, rock hard. So I'm not going to know for a few days. You can soak it in Epsom salt to bring it out, whatever. But the point is, it feels so weird and stressful when it's like your animal, right? Because it's like, if it was someone else, I'd be like, oh yeah, just wait a few days, don't worry about it. But since it's me, I'm like, am I doing enough? And they made me think about and sympathize with everyone that has real human children. I don't know how you guys do it. I think I'd go insane. I think I'd be so worried all the time about everything. So kudos and cheers to you guys. Or really anyone that can keep anything alive, whether it's a plant or an entire human life. You guys are doing a great job. And I was like, oh no. Yeah, honestly though, with horses, one of my favorite quotes as deal with horses, just animals in general, they're just maintenance with legs. So it's to be expected. I never go out there and think, oh my God, he's sick. I'm like, yeah, we were about due. That sounds about right. Real human children. Yes, I have to specify because I know it's funny to call animals your fur babies. I never say that because I'm like, I very seriously never want children. And there's lots of reasons for that. Mostly because I really just don't want them. And I don't know, I don't want to minimize how difficult real human children are. Though it's cute to call animals fur babies, they're not. I can put Maverick in a room for a whole day and not open the door, and that's not abuse. That's not a CPS call. You know what I mean? It's different. Yeah. Sater says, only in the horse world is limp the more severe version of lame. Voxia says, as opposed to fake human children? Yes, fur babies. Which again, it's a very cute saying. Excuse me. It's a very cute saying. I don't know. I don't like saying it. Wait, did horse actually try to hide it from you? I swear to God, seriously, I walk out there. So when horses are relaxed, they'll kind of cock their back leg. They kind of like how birds put one foot up. It's the same thing. They never do that with their front feet though. And his front foot was all holding it weird. And I was like, what are you doing? Straightens all 4 feet. I'm like, nope. I know something's wrong. So, yeah. Sater says, real talk, the more you know, the more anxiety you have. That is so true. And so initially I tried to educate myself more and Google's 1, your horse is already dead. Sorry. He looks alive, but I assure you he's not. 2, everything you did, it was wrong. And I'm like, okay. So I don't go to Google anymore. The first 2 to 3 years is a slowly reducing purgatory of anxiety, worrying about keeping them alive. Yeah, and it's not like if you accidentally kill your fish, it's like, oh no, your goldfish. And if it's like, okay, accidentally killing a horse would be kind of insane. But what I'm saying, back to the fish. People would be like, oh no, that's sad. But like if your whole human life dies, yeah, that's not water cooler conversation. So yeah, kudos to you for keeping your children alive. Aloha says, my parents always told me that I'm always their child to them no matter what the age. So they always rely on some level are worried or anxious. Yeah, my dad's like that. He'll call me about I talk to him at least once a week. Well, pretty much like every day. He sends me a lot of pictures of his cats, which are fantastic. It's like the highlight of my day. But anyway, he'll call and every now and then he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you tell me something wasn't okay. I'm like, yes, Dad. Everything is good. Are you good? He's like, it's just a parent thing. All right, enough chatter. We are sculpting a dragon today. Actually, it's already sculpted, but I need to finish it. Bam. Tavern Keeper's Craft. Let's go. Is neglect to the point of death classified as manslaughter? I don't know. That's a good question. SIDS, if you know, you know. Yeah, sudden infant death syndrome. They recently actually have linked it to a sleep issue, which is very interesting. I recommend Googling it. Yeah. So it's a little less scary. Again, as of I think it was last year, they found a connection between poor sleep patterns. So yeah, it's very interesting. Anyway, everyone here is alive. So let's be alive and be happy. And we'll sculpt the dragon. How do we get from my horse maybe not has an abscess to SIDS to cherry blossom dragons? I don't know. Just another day at the tavern. I love it. All right, so how are we going to finish this thing? One step at a time. I masked a section yesterday to decide what the heck the top is going to be because he is a noodly boy. And this is one of those models that if you let it, the last like 20% of it will take hours, and it really shouldn't. So I'm going to set a timer on my watch and think about how long this actually should take. Womp, womp. All right. So I want the base to be not just like a lump of grass, and I want the whole noodle to have texture on it. So how long is that going to take? Well, I think I can get it all done in 30 minutes if my life depended on it. That sounds like a crazy goal. Let's do it. 30 minutes. Let's go. I'm feeling intimidated by the dragon, so I'm not going to start there. I'm going to start with this grass blob. To all my fellow artists out there, what is up with being afraid of your art? You know what I'm talking about? And this is digital art, so I shouldn't be afraid of it because I can undo it. But like when I did more traditional stuff, oh my goodness. It's so scary. Like, don't even get me started on like inking a piece. Oh my God, you know? But no, we are being brave today. I'm discovering that I have 2 copies of the base. What is happening here? There we go. Yeah, it's supposed to be more of a slope going on here. And then it is still kind of blobbing away. So I'm going to kind of get this situated here. There we go. Hello, says Mia. The real question is, if Spartan turned into a baby human for a month, would you still look after him? I really don't want kids. Okay, like, the answer is no, but I wouldn't just like leave him in a field. Like, I would just like pay a babysitter and just like be like, hey, don't ask questions. Horse baby. Yeah. Yeah. Sater says, the first time my crotch goblin, child, slept through the night, I cried because I was so happy having full night's sleep. Then I panicked and ran into his room to check on him. That's beautiful and really, really wholesome. My goodness. I love to hear those. Yeah. Silence is the worst noise. That's fair. And then Reaper mentions, it's the fear of messing up all your hard work, right? And now we're talking about art, not children. But I mean, honestly, it could go either way. I needed a stream like this today. I don't know. I think it's me just being a bit more lively. But it feels like it's the stream. So I'm going to just say it's the stream. All right, we're going to go with some sort of bumpy texture here. It's going to break this up and look more interesting. But most importantly, it gives you something to dry brush when it's painted. I talk about dry brushing a lot when I mention painting minis because it's one of the few things that I can kind of do. Pretty much it's when you take a paintbrush and you pretty much get all of the paint off of it and then you slowly, barely touch your model with it. And then little bits of paint will only deposit on the very fine edges. So it's like a highlighting technique essentially. It's very cool. So all these little bumps will grab all those little bits of paint that are barely on the paintbrush. In case you're wondering, yes, dry brushing absolutely destroys your brushes. I like to use old makeup brushes. That works really well. Honestly, I recommend using makeup brushes, like cheap makeup brushes, instead of like the fancy mini paint brushes, like all the way. Spend money on like a good detail brush, but everything else, nah, you can go cheap. I mean, that actually goes with most things. Sometimes when it comes to like physical art, not digital, you know? I almost said real art, but that was like a self-diss, and I don't believe that. Anyway, sometimes more expensive equipment can be just totally wasted on a beginner because you won't know how to use it. But sometimes it actually makes it possible for you. It's kind of like training wheels. So just keep that in mind. Dry brushing is what dead brushes are for. Exactly. Exactly. David says to Satyr, girl same, which I think is really funny because you guys both have the same name. But you wouldn't know that. Satyr's name is David. Pretty sure. Anyway, actually definitely sure. I thought my kid stopped breathing in my arms once because he wasn't snoring. Talk about a heart attack. Yeah, that would be terrifying. Oh my god. Paint says 100% makeup brush for dry brushing. Make sure when you do it though, the brush is ever so slightly damp. That makes a lot of sense why in the beginning of my paint sessions, it's terrible. And as I keep doing it, it gets better because I'm like cleaning the brush and drying it off. I never connected the fact that's because the brush is slightly damp. You just blew my mind. Thank you. Why are Foxy and Reaper yelling at each other? Oh, it's happy. It's happy yelling. Okay, we're good. That is allowed then. I'm going to put a bunch of flowers on this base. See, that looks cool. That's already looking better. All right, so I got the timer. Okay, I've already wasted 5 minutes just putting some dots on here. Oh, it feels bad. It's like, and it's not about like being in a rush. It's just being honest with yourself. That's what I am working on again here. You always gotta be working on something, right? And right now I'm kind of letting my art skills take a freaking break because I've been pushing on those really hard. So now I'm focusing more on the productivity side. I find it's easier if you just like zero in on like one goal at a time. Because if you just try to be the very best all the time, it's too much. So right now I'm trying to get better at moving the heck on when a piece is done. Here we go. I'm gonna lower these back legs so they actually touch the base and scooting that body down. All right, I'm also gonna make this lovely flower here. Where'd it go? There it is. Wow. This flower is gonna be an IMM brush. What does that mean? That means I can pretty much every time I click and drag, it'll spawn a flower. Through my whole pen. So sorry. I'm so sorry. That was probably really loud. I gestured. So, fun fact. A lot of people, like artists, it's common that when they draw, they grip their pen really aggressively and they get cramps. I do the opposite. I am barely holding my pen at any given moment. And now you guys know that because if I move my hand at all, I threw it. I'm so sorry. That's probably so loud. Anyway, this is how you create an IMM brush. Click on B for brush palette and create insert mesh. Click on new instead of a pen, otherwise it will overwrite your current brush. It doesn't overwrite, but you just don't want that. And there you go. So now I click and drag. I can make many flowers. I know, I'm so sorry, Aloha. I'm so sorry. Paint says, Mia, I love painting. It's my #1 hobby right now. I recommend coming to the Discord for more tips in painting and modeling. I do too. Good tip. There goes the intro to my YouTube short. Yeah, sorry. I can just say it again like it's new. We can do like a retake. And I won't throw my pen this time. Or maybe I will. No promises. All right, it is flower power time. Would there be cherry blossoms on the ground like this? Sure. Not growing, that's for sure. But you know what? I can do whatever I want. It's my model. It could be a blooper, that's true. And it's like health and safety for artists. Don't overgrip your pens, but maybe find a happy medium? Yeah. I am amazed at just how much better these flowers are making the base look. Which probably means I'm going to put way too many. Nonsense. Can never be too many. There we go. Check that out. And I'll do the same thing to the ridge of the dragon body once I get that done. Ray says, I've never gotten hand cramps, thank God. I think I've done it like once. I mostly get them in my leg and my calf, and it is the worst. It's okay, I say mostly. It's happened to me like twice in my entire life. They were just the worst. Hey, Desiree, someone new. Hi. Desiree asked, how are you doing that with the flowers? I am a ZBrush noob. Then you're in a great place, because I teach ZBrush, and I do this for a living. Alrighty. So the first thing I did was I created this flower. And this is just a bunch of different spheres that I kind of smushed around. Once you have a flower that you like, make sure it's oriented towards the camera. So not like this, but like this. The orientation really matters. Click on B on your keyboard and that'll open up the brush palette. And then create insert mesh. It's gonna prompt right here to do new or append. Never click auto, it never does it right. Just click on new. Once you do that, you'll see at the bottom here, you now got your flower. So when you click and drag, it's going to size it accordingly. As you kind of like move your pen around, you'll notice it will change the shape. Kind of looks like it's blooming, doesn't it? So just be careful with that too. So there you go. I'm really glad that you asked because I talked about that earlier and I threw my pen and I scared half the viewers and I felt really bad. So you asking again gave me an opportunity to re-explain without jump scaring everyone. Yeah. Aloha says, oh my God, thank the rerun. We are in business. Desiree says, oh, okay. Yeah, ask any other questions. Feel free. I don't always catch the chat, so if I miss your question, just ask me again. And if you put M3DM, that's my name, it will put it in bright orange on my side. So it's a little easier for me to see. If you're learning ZBrush though, I really encourage you to join our Discord. It's free. It's just a community with different channels, and then we can like share our ask questions, all that kind of stuff. Just want you to know that you're very invited because learning ZBrush is very difficult. All right, we're gonna start texturing the body of the dragon. I'm actually gonna use one of the default brushes in ZBrush, and it's called Fungus. Once I'm done adjusting the brush, it'll look like flower petals, just trust me. Here is B to bring up my brush palette, and then I believe it's under Chisel Organic. Yes, and here is our fungus. There are scales right here, it even says animal scale. But I find that this shape looks a little more stiff and a little more boring, especially because this is like a flower dragon, right? I find that this looks much more like the edge of a petal. So even though it's labeled fungus, you don't have to use it for that. You can use it for whatever you want. So keep that in mind. I went ahead and poly painted the top of the dragon so I don't get confused because this dragon is a noodle and it's kind of hard to keep track of. Ray says, just don't ask too many questions or she'll get sassy. Eventually, yes, I will be like, you should join my mentorship program. But again, Ray's just saying that because I give Ray a hard time. But it is true. All right, we're gonna start from the front and work our way all the way to this back of the tail. And I'm gonna try not to get too stuck on anything looking perfect because it's supposed to be organic. As long as these petals are kind of overlapping and larger on the outside and smaller on the inside. And I'm doing that so that way it doesn't just look like a blanket of texture. And then to do the underside of it, we're gonna come in with this custom VDM brush that I sculpted. All right. Ray says, excuse me, how many? I mean, honestly, Ray, you've been around long enough. You can obviously still ask questions. And you're also in university, so I know that I was super poor when I was in college. I'm not expecting you to be part of my mentorship program, even though it is $1 a day. But like, you're literally already paying to like learn how to use the software, so I'm not worried about it. Speaking of, how is school going? Gosh, I feel like a parent. How is school? But no, seriously, I hope it's going well. It's May, so wouldn't that be like time for like summer? Are you on summer vacation or are you like doing it all year round? I didn't have summer vacation when I was in college because I made sure it was the worst experience ever. I went straight from full load classes to working. But God forbid I got like a normal job that pays you like money. No, I got jobs that were like stipend paid. So it just like was exchanged for my housing. Yeah, which is like a fun way of saying like I was like an indentured slave. But I had housing paid for. When I was an RA, I got paid $100 a month plus housing. But the big thing is it covered my food, because if you live in the resident halls, you cannot opt out of the food program or whatever. And it's like $2,000 a semester. So even though my full rate scholarship covered my housing, I was like, I don't want to pay anything. So that's why I was an RA. That and I am a terrible snoop and I loved knowing what's going on. So being an RA, I knew everything that was going on. Maybe a little too much. If you guys don't know what an RA is, it's a resident advisor. It just means I was like a babysitter in the dorms. That's it. I was supposed to make sure people didn't have toasters and burn the resident hall down. But what it really turned into was girls showing up in the middle of the night drunk and scared because they were sick and didn't know what was going on. And I was like, whoa, I was just here to make sure you didn't have toasters, but it turned into a lot more than that, which is okay. Maybe this is why I don't want kids. I already did it. I feel like I had 80 of them, literally, for 4 years. And I was like, you know what? I learned a lot from that. I don't need that again. Thank you. I can't believe I haven't shared more of my like resident hall stories with you guys. I have a lot. I can also talk about ZBrush and relevant art stuff. That's also on the table. Ray says, yes, art mother uni. Literally just finished on Tuesday, did my deadline, so I'm technically on summer break. Oh, nice. David says, Mia, sorry, missed it. Is that a mold alpha? Yes, it is called Fungus 01, and it is under Chisel Organic. So it is technically like a VDM, so that's a vector displacement mesh. Reaper said, had a great RA in my last year. Very nice, actually knew my name. That's partly why I'm good at names in the chat too, and like remembering people who've come back or if they're new, because I took it very seriously to know everyone's name when I worked there. Ray says, apparently we were getting set pre-production work because our third year is one project over the whole year. You're getting set some extra optional summer stuff. Okay. Pretty cool. Oh yeah, and Reaper's pulling are not legitimate. She just took all of mine. So, don't worry about it. David says, Blender just got VDMs. I love them. Oh, very cool. And then Ray says, we don't have RAs. You just have a dorm without oversight? That's actually shocking. You guys didn't just like burn the place down? It happened several times that there would be beds in the stairwell, like an entire bed. And I'd have to run around and be like, I was always pissed at that point because it was always the boys. And I was just like, you guys have to stop putting your entire bed frame in the stairwell. It was funny the first time, maybe a little funny the second time. But by the third time, it was not funny anymore. David says, I don't use them enough, but I love them. Yeah, that's one thing about like cool tools. Sometimes I forget to actually use them. And that's why I'm always trying to kind of keep tabs on how much time I'm taking when I'm sculpting, because it forces me to use said cool tools. So another way I could have done this is by using a noisemaker, but I find trying to get that correct in its direction is kind of a huge pain, so I don't do it. Hello, says Mia. Speaking of, the peasants have placed their bed frame in the Tower of Interest again. The way I would just not come to work if you guys could manage to do that. Isn't that what I have mods for? Ray says, Mia, we aren't that bad. We did steal cones and break a microwave on accident, but really we were innocent. Yeah, no, ours were absolute hooligans. I mean, they were like happy and like nice people, but they were maybe not happy and actually really stressed out. So they did really goofy things all the time. It was funny. It was just really annoying. On the plus side, I can de-escalate almost any situation. Obviously, I'm very sassy on stream and whatnot, but when it comes to like the stakes are high kind of stuff, oh no, I am absolutely zen, unflappable. I used to just show everything on my face and I had a really hard time not just being like openly showing contempt. And then I learned that's not a nice thing to do ever. So I broke that habit in college. And now I just think contemptuous thoughts in my head. All right, where's that VDM brush? Here we go. All right, so VDM brushes that you create don't save themselves unless you go through a lot of effort to do it. So I just don't, because a lot of mine are very niche. So I just remake them every time I open up the project. And you'll see, it's not that bad. Click on this. Make sure you have a chisel brush open. I don't know why, but you have to have a chisel brush. Wow, say that 5 times fast. Anyway, this brush. And when you do this, it's gonna overwrite it. I know it's silly, it's just kind of the way. But don't worry, I'll be back when you restart ZBrush. All right, and then with this selected, now click on Create Multi-Alpha Brush. There you go. It overwrote it, and now it should work. What is this? What is this nonsense? Not working. All right, let's change it from freehand to rectangle. Bam, I fixed it. And we're good. All right, we are going to turn on backface mask so it doesn't rip through the back of the mesh. We're going to increase the focal shift so that way the edge right here isn't so harsh. And then we're going to change the mRGB to turn it off. mRGB just means it has color plus a material. I just want color, no material. And then last but not least, instead of Z sub, which is going to subtract material, I want it to be Z add. And there you go. Couple steps, a little bit of nonsense. But I would still rather do that than have to save it. So yeah. Does it show on your resting witch face? Oh, resting witch face is here. Hello. I'm going to say, I'm like, that is very funny, but not me. I exist in permanent state of contempt. Honestly, it's really my default, but I have learned it is harder to get places in life. So I have learned to be internally contemptuous. Yeah. Also, welcome back. David says, Mia, I might need a mentorship program on that, not showing everything on my face. People constantly think I'm a very angry soul. I mean, you just have like, again, resting witch face. That's fine. But if people are just annoying and you show that on your face, the trick is not to not be annoyed. I tried that for a long time. It's intrinsic to my soul. I'm not going to think it's dumb. I just think like soft face, neutral. It's like people have a happy place. I have a happy face that just looks like just being neutral. And I've gotten good. Just hold neutral. Yeah. I find as long as when you're talking to someone, you lighten up and you don't still have that same expression, it's fine. All right, I'm gonna start stitching these together. And then we'll zoom out and see if I like it. And I better, because I don't want to redo it. Wow, this is actually really difficult to not get turned around. All right, we're going this direction. Yes. I want to make sure it kind of like fades off to the edges, and if it's tearing and overlapping too much, I can use a masking brush. Mean Cat says, welcome back. Thinking contemptuous thoughts also keeps wrinkles away. I can see that. I got some intense smile lines. But I've always thought crow's feet, I feel like because this screen is so bright and pink, it doesn't look that stands out. Anyway, I've always had really intense crow's feet, even when I was like a little kid. And I think I briefly didn't like it. And weirdly enough, it was playing Baldur's Gate 3. Will has really intense smile lines and stuff. And like, he wasn't my favorite character, but I always thought that was like a key part of his face. And I liked it on Will. So I was like, I can like it on myself. Also, I don't want to get Botox because the idea ekes me out. So that's not an option anyway. Which is weird because I don't mind like getting my blood drawn and stuff, but like needles, that's why I hate the dentist. Oh my God. Needles by my face. Can't do it. Can't do it. There goes my lifelong dream of face tattoos. I don't have any tattoos. That's a joke. I used to have a fair amount of piercings though, and then I didn't. If you don't, like now I'm only reduced just to 3 on each lobe. But I used to have lots. But here's the thing about piercings: if you take them out for a long time, they heal again. So womp womp. We got a little turned around here. Foxy says, I wear my heart on my sleeve. People can look at me and know what state of mind I'm in. I'm terrible at poker. Yeah, same. Ray says, Mia, can you not use this VDM that you have and then use the drag spots brush so that it just stamps them on? the drag spots brush. I am using drag rectangle. But yeah, you could absolutely do that as well. I just like this one. Oh, I know what you're saying. Where it's gonna like stamp at an interval. Yeah, I could have done that too. Botox moves over time anyway. That is actually filler. Botox is, it's the same thing. There's actually a medical use for it where it like reduce phantom pain or something. Anyway, Botox just makes it so the contractions that happen there don't happen anymore. Filler is when they put new material into your face, and you were correct. That does move. Resting which face says, my armor is contempt. My shield is disgust, and my sword is hatred. Suffer not the alien, the heretic, the mutant. It sounds like a quote from something that I don't know, but since I don't know, that means that you are the original author on that, and I freaking love that. Especially as someone whose primary sins are pride and wrath. Love the sword of hatred. God, that is such a metal concept. I want to make that into a mini. That's got like femme fatale written all over it. David says, I just got back from the dentist before the stream. I haven't gone in almost 2 years. I used to go every 6 months. And I moved across the country and used that as a huge excuse. I really should go. Paint says, okay, John Space Marine. Oh, it's a Warhammer reference, isn't it? Me also being a huge Warhammer fan. See, I had a feeling it was from something, but I didn't know. So in my head, I'm like, wow, we have a writer in the chat. Burn the alien, the heretic, and the mutant. Goodness. You know, I'm actually surprised I'm not more into Warhammer. Maybe because I like money. Gentle burn. We'll see. An animated sword of hatred. Would be pretty awesome. Look at all these Warhammer dorks in the chat. You guys are going to summon Rudy. Also, goes without saying, I'm going to say it anyway. I say dork very lovingly. I sculpt D&D minis for a living, for God's sake, so. Definitely not the pot calling the kettle black by any means. All right, this kind of turned into a disaster of me texturing the bottom part of this. I'm going to hope that this filler approach I took was fine. And if it's not, I'll need to just undo and come in with more love and care. I predict it's going to be fine. Resting Witch Face says, okay, Mr. Krabs. Yeah, a little bit. Just for now. Again, once I get a house with a lot of dirt and I live in the middle of my dirt, I'll spend lots of money on stuff again. I'll probably have to be an absolute, I'll have a Warhammer room. I just need my dirt first. Call this take about Warhammer. It's just because I'm jealous. All right, let's get this chest a little bit more detailed. Then I'm hoping I can call this good. We just hit our 30-minute mark. So I was supposed to be done at this point. I'm actually closer than I thought, which is exciting. I think I'm gonna give myself 10 more minutes and see what I can get. See what I can get done. Working quickly, but not being a total spaz about it. Ray says, Mia, you got big plans for the land once you get it? Yes. A lot of it is somewhat dependent on getting a mid-sized tractor, but I want dirt and then grow things in that dirt and then bees, lots of bees. Everyone's like, oh, you want to sell honey? And I'm like, yeah, I guess. I just like reading outside, and I think it'd be cool if I could sit in my garden of plants that I picked, and read. I just want to be pretty much like a real life druid. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to be. I want to build my own birdhouses. I already have some stuff that I've sketched out. We finally have woodworking tools, so I got the tools to do it. And then I don't know if I want a bunch of horses. I think maximum 2, and then I can get a bunch of goats, and that would be great. But yeah, that's pretty much the plan. It depends how much land. Ray says, oh, that's a cute idea, low-key. Isn't it? And it's fun. I don't know. It's the little things, you know what I mean? And I'm so excited. And I've never been closer to that. 2 years ago, there was absolutely no path, no plan to somehow making enough money to buy a house in California. Was never going to happen. But here, I'm like, within a year or so, we're sitting on a good pile of cash right now, but we're self-employed. So when you're self-employed, banks tend to be like, that's cute. Where's your W-4 or W-2? And I'm like, I don't have one. So yeah, you need a lot more money up front, which is fine. Reaper says goats are fun until they headbutt you. Yeah, some of them are just little bastards. That's kind of why I like them. Ray says, I'd love to tend to a garden of poisonous plants. Not a fan of bees, though. Bees are actually super chill. I used to be really afraid of bees until someone was like, if you stop flailing, they don't sting you. And I'm like, really? They were right. Very difficult to not do the flailing. But yeah, if you're chill, they're chill. All right, we're going to change the color here because the poly paint is making the shapes confusing. And then we need to add some sort of light tertiary texture here. Just something really light. Need to figure out what that's going to be. I'm pretty much just adding noise to the model. You know, I've also been stung enough by bees to be like, this really isn't that big of a deal. I've never been stung by a wasp, though. I'm absolutely horrified of wasps. If you guys want to ruin your day, Google paper wasp. We have those around here like crazy. Red paper wasp specifically. Yeah. I've got more chill with those too, though. Resting Witch Face says, how can I not flail when I have spent my life flailing? Then flail away. Then just stay away from bees, I guess. All right, what are we doing? What do I even want here? I know I want some sort of noise. I just don't know what kind of noise. Not with backface mask because it's going to destroy my mesh. This might be a job for the layer brush. Just want, yeah, see what I mean? See how much more, okay, I know this is way too noisy. Less of that. But this, again, you gotta have your primary, secondary, tertiary shapes. I'm kind of cheating by making these petals the secondary shapes, but to be fair, it's like a worm, so I'm kind of limited on my secondary shapes. If I knew more about how this would possibly muscle, I could probably figure it out. But I've decided that this model just needs to be done, so we don't have to obsess on it. There we go. Just like a little shimmer is how I'd imagine this. There we go. That's so nice. Layer brush for the win. Although you asked before, like, why layer brush? This is why layer brush. You could use curve clay tube. Why do so many brushes sound the same? Not curve tube, it's a curve brush. I think it's clay tube. Yeah, clay tube's constant. There we go. Anyway, you could use that instead, but I like to just use brushes for what they're most intended for. I really love that. Oh, what a nice little detail. Paint says, Mia, stringworm dragon. Sorry, intrusive modeling thoughts. You're not wrong. Could have done scale size differentiation to help. Do you think these are all the exact same size? Oh, look. I'm going to sass the crap out of Ray right now. You guys ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 distinct sizes right there. And it's like, oh, you could have done more. No, this is fine. And again, I'm Ray to mean. That's hysterical. I'm mean to Ray because they handle it well. Watch Ray never come back. I would feel so bad, actually. Hey, it's been a while since I've had a chance to do like the whole "am I a joke to you?" It's like my favorite sassy, not sassy joke. Here we go. My favorite is honestly how I did the neck. Like, okay, on a real note, we're done just being sassy. I like the way that this is layered up right here. We have the larger flare on the side, but this took a long time, and I really just I love this model, but I can't let it just take over my life. That is hysterical. I look over and I'm like, oh my God, Avatar. I love Avatar. And then it's still majestic. Resting Witch Face says, I thought you were going to say I'm mean to Ray because they deserve it. That was definitely the lurking thought, but I chose not to say it. Reaper says, I mean, she wouldn't be wrong. I'm sure Ray is like, what the heck? Ray says, sassy. I was actually thinking about the scales getting smaller to get closer to the belly. That could work too. On the real note. Like, yeah, that could. And then if you make them smaller towards the belly, you could actually, like, you know, blend them out nice and smooth. It's less fun when you have a good point. Moving on. Where is the layer brush? There it is. All right, we got 2 minutes here. And then does this? Wow, where am I? Okay, we're finally almost done. That's the thing about dragons. I think a reason why I love and hate sculpting dragons is because if you're not careful, they consume you. But you want to do your best, right? Generally speaking, when I finish a dragon, I know like 10 different things I could have done better. But at some point, it's like learning how to sculpt the head from scratch. You gotta move on. Resting Witch Face says, my armor is contempt. Reaper's like, mine's sarcasm. This is true. Look at these healthy habits in the chat. All right. This mustard yellow is driving me nuts. There we go. What can I do with this tail? Are you gonna be horrible to 3D print? Or are you gonna be cool? No, you're gonna be cool. Yeah, okay. Just had to double check. Are these different pieces? I was kind of hoping I could fluff out the tail a little bit. I don't know if that's like a necessary spend of time though. Ooh, what happened to the chest? Wow, what the heck? What is this? When did I do that? Right here. Okay, let's just undo, thank you. Oh, it's when I use a layer brush. I did not have backface mask turned on. So if you guys ever wonder what I'm talking about when I say that, if you use a brush and the brush size is larger than your entire mesh, it not only sculpts on top, it also wraps around and destroys the bottom of the mesh. It's very fun. So that's all I mean when I say backface mask. It'll make it so it only affects the top. Oh, bam, see? No destruction this time. Very good. Very good. Everyone's talking what their armor is. What would my armor be? Kindness? No, it's definitely not kindness. Honestly, it's also probably contempt, but I'm trying to move away from that. I'm growing or something. You know, sometimes I think redemption arcs and growth arcs and stories are totally overrated. Some of my favorite characters did not change by the end, and I kind of love that. I'm like, oh, you're still terrible. Very nice. It's not as heartwarming, but damn is it relatable. Oh look, not me adding small skills as I transition to the body. It totally needs it. Ray, shut up. Me, the being of the stream. Feel free to share tips and inspiration. Me to Ray. Shut up. Eh. Would you guys like me as much as if I was always nice, though? Let's be real. Reaper says, Mia, your armor is sass. Probably. But at this point, that armor doesn't come off. Like, it's just, it is so deeply ingrained. I'm sassy even when I'm happy. I think it started off as that, though. I think you're 100% right. Okay, on an art note, we're talking about art again. You'll probably notice I've gone back and forth between having poly paint turned on and having it turned off. Because this is ultimately going to be 3D printed, which means it'll just be as one color, it's really important that when I do final touches, I don't have any poly paint turned on. That way I actually get like a clear look at the whole model and what's really going on. There we go. Foxy says, does that mean Mia is a sassy Warforged if the armor doesn't come off? I never thought about that. Maybe. Again, I always fancied myself more in like a cottagecore fantasy setting than steampunk. But if the shoe fits. Oh man, this is looking bitchin'. Okay. I don't even know what the heist odds are today. Good luck in the chat. Deep lore, indeed. Also, we are not spending enough time talking about this head. God, I love this face. It's got a little bit of a snaggletooth situation going on, but that's kind of why I love it. He also looks very tired. I love that too. Oh, he has one more eyelid on one side than the other. Oh, I wish I didn't notice that. Okay, let's fix that. We're gonna click auto groups, grab his bottom eyelid, and then move it. Because I probably just forgot to move it. Yes, there we go. I'm really glad I noticed that now. Okay, all is repaired. He is now symmetrical. I don't know why it's a boy. it just is. Damn, gorgeous. Okay. I'm unsure how flat I should make the base. Because if people want to have like their own base for this model, I don't want to have the Dragon 2 pose, if that makes sense. I think it's flat enough, honestly. At the very least, I know I need to add some flowers. So let's do that. It's flower time. Flaws and all, this is definitely turning into my favorite models. This is definitely a more is more kind of situation. Thank you, Reaper, for taking care of the chat and enabling the peasants. All right. Getting very close to the finish line here. It really depends on how the post-processing goes, and that's just when I get it ready for 3D printing. Essentially, you just want your mesh to be nice and watertight, which sometimes it's really easy. Other times I'll have some weird mesh stuff I have to take care of. It never usually causes any actual 3D printing issues, only if you have like an actual like hollow cavity in your mesh. But that being said, it's still good practice to not have goofed up meshes, especially when you do this for a living. Yenny says, just been lurking and heisting, but Dragon's turning out real good. Aw, thank you so much. And good, you're doing exactly what a good peasant should do. Lurk as you wish, heist as you wish. And that goes for all my lurkers. I still appreciate the heck out of you guys. Hang out, have a good time. I got plenty of work to entertain myself with. One of the bigger oops on this model is that the top of the dragon kind of like twists under itself where the legs connect. But that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just need to be aware of it for future me. And I'll be like, hey, the last time I did this, didn't the legs end up all twisted? And then I'll do a slightly better job on the next worm noodle dragon I do, because this definitely won't be the last one. All right. Next up is we're going to see how the feet are doing and how level or not level they are, because again, I haven't really decided how that's going to work out. All right. Man, this is cool. I'm trying to only make changes if I think they're absolutely necessary. It's so difficult on a big model like this to not fiddle. What I mean by that is like, that's when you zoom into a model and you're like, what about this versus this versus this? Like you gotta just zoom out and be like, okay, like that was a bigger change here. I do think that looks better into the flow of the model, so I'm gonna keep it. But trying to only do these kind of changes if I think it absolutely improves the model. Adding a little more tension to the head I think is cool, and the head is a little bit small, which is good. I'd rather it be on the small side than too big. Hello, it says Mia, I'm going through the exporting of my project, taking it into other software for texturing and fun renders. Whilst I'm waiting for that part, should I send over my document of the modeling? Yeah, do it. I don't plan to review it on stream for the first time. I want to look at it on my own first and kind of like prepare my thoughts, because your projects are always a lot larger and I don't want to feel rushed I don't think the final render process is necessary for the hand and stuff. Yeah, no, exactly. You were correct. Perfect. Hello says, yes, please. No stream review for document, thanks. Agreed. Same brain. I'm happy to show off the final. Of course. So it's usually with models like this, I have people asking like, oh, should this be keyed or multiple pieces? Honestly, unless you're printing it like bigger than my hand, I don't know, like bigger, like my head, you really don't need to. Like I printed this just as one piece. It can be easier to paint them as separate pieces. I do understand that. But for printing reasons, you don't need to. Aloha says, yes, no one's seen it yet. You'll be the first person. You're free to share the final piece whenever it's done. Oh, I'm so excited. Zager says, fine back. What'd I miss? Not much. Other than like the dragon being pretty much totally done. We've been pretty tame and pretty well behaved, if I say so myself. I bullied Ray for a bit. That's pretty much it. And no, he didn't really deserve it either, just in case you're wondering. So right now I'm trying to support this giant freaking dragon on these tiny little legs, because that will matter for 3D printing. So if I can scoot things over, I'm going to. Any connection points like this, I'm going to kind of flare into the legs. It's not really going to make much of a visual change, but it will just add a little bit more structural integrity. So there you go. Wow, what a beautiful pain in the ass this was. I really enjoyed this. Doing some last minute, I think necessary cleanup, and then we're gonna be good. Sater says, Mia, I was thinking about it. You may want to be a druid, but you're clearly a bard. I don't think I have enough charisma to be a bard, but I appreciate the sentiment. I also was very much so a musician first before I was like a visual artist. Foxy says, tame and well behaved. Never have I heard such an invitation to act up. I love how yesterday when I was giving Mr. Banana Sham the new Pain in the Ass Request Award, and you popped up like knowing it was you first, and I'm like, you're correct. It was Ash for a while. Though it's funny because like now I feel like I'd knocked that model out of the park with a little more confidence. Still did a fantastic job. Just with a few identity crises along the way. Nothing that a good art piece won't do to you anyway. I feel like these grass pieces are nice, but if I'm not going to have any other grass on the model, they can't be here. So I'm going to split this into its own piece and perhaps add some more. Sater says, you are a streamer that no one can explain exactly why you're so captivating. Like, we all agree that your work is boss, but people do return for you. Sounds like charisma to me. Steve, I'm not I think it's because I'm not witty. I want to make like a joke about something to do with poison. See, I've ever thought it. Thank you. Hey, someone new is here. Perfect. Segue. Free fire shorts. That's fantastic. I'm gonna call you Fire Shorts. Wow, nice work. Thank you so much. I'm almost done with this. It's definitely in that stage where I'm trying to just get it done, because it's one of those models where if you let it, it just will never be finished. There's always some new little thing to like finagle with. But I am quite proud of it, so thank you. All right, need to add either more grass or less grass. I think I'm gonna go with more and taller. I'm still thinking about your comment, Sater. I think part of it's like the cozy art vibes too. There's not a lot of art streamers. There's a lot of like gamers for sure. Resting Witchface says, I return to the friendship simulator as a mental screensaver to keep me from the brink. That's actually beautiful and super bleak and dark at the same time, which are my favorite things. Friendship screensaver. I kind of did the same thing. When I do homework in college, I'd always bring up Lo-Fi Girl, and I'd always choose a live one too. And the chat was always just complete nonsense, like truly absolute like garbledygook. But just seeing like other people, I don't know, being active in the chat. If there was someone that was doing like what I'm doing, I would probably watch that instead. Foxy said, I once spent an entire game session speaking in limericks. That's honestly a huge flex. Can you do that for the rest of the stream? Or at least for the next, like, I don't know, 2 messages? Because that's really impressive. I would be on here, like, trying to count, like, no, it's a haiku. That's not a limerick. No, don't limericks have, like, they have to rhyme, I think. And it has to have certain structure, right? I am confusing with a haiku, though, which is 575, I believe. Sater says, Mia, hilariously, I've actually tried to explore a couple other art/sculpting streamers to see how they stack up. Did you streamer cheat on me? No, I'm totally joking. But honestly, I'd be interested to watch them too, because the only one I've ever really found was, I don't remember her name, but it's a girl, and she used to stream a lot on Pixelogic's channel before they were bought out, and she had long, straight, brown hair, really funny, and her use of Dynamesh specifically was like super chaotic, but she's a little bit higher of a level than I am as an artist, and most of what she did was concepting monsters, and it was so good. That's interesting. That's not holding your interest as much though. It might be the blend of similar hobbies too, because a lot of us are dorks, to put kindly. So the chat is like regularly filled with similar interests, similar hobbies, that kind of stuff. Ooh, I like the grass a lot. Okay. I see Foxy put in a message and immediately retracted it. Either they tried to do a limerick and didn't turn out. I'm excited to see your next message. No pressure. Oh, it's happening. It's happening. Foxy says, a speaker with rhythm so slick, spoke only in limerick quicks. With cadence and rhyme, he talk all the time, till friends beg, just once, be non-lyric. Oh my god, you're actually really good at that. I was, again, just kind of hoping you'd go with it, but I didn't know you actually could. Damn, you were quite... What is it called? Like when someone is extremely good with words, and it's not just being like charismatic or like a soothsayer. There is a word for this, and I cannot remember what it is. Either way, I'm very impressed. That's awesome. David says, Mia, so confessional. I hate streams. I don't know how people do them, to be honest. I like conversational podcasts, but I typically hate streams. Huh. That is funny, because like you joined this and then like it clicked and very quickly became part of my mentorship program. I'm thinking, I don't know. I feel like I should know, but I really enjoy hanging out with you guys. It's called cheating. I use ChatGPT. Why would you confess to that? There are things that are called inside thoughts. You can be whoever you want on the internet. I'd never questioned it. I know you're smart enough to do it. Also, that was still delightful. Resting Witch Face says, a cunning linguist. Linguist is a good word for that, yeah. Sater says, must be in the name. I'm also not a stream consumer. I started watching live streams more recently. Usually for gaming, but I get you. I do find it annoying eventually. Aloha says, other streams are not streamed because they enjoy it. It's out trying to get numbers. Yeah, I think there's something to do with, like, I feel like I give, like, the Reddit community a lot of credit for this. It's like the bullshit detector. If I didn't really like what I was doing, I feel like people pick up on that. But people like playing video games. I don't know. David says, I never said it made sense. I hate turn-based games, but I love Expedition 33. I need to play that game. Oh, I'm so excited for that. Resting Witch Face, like, nah, you gotta say it faster. I feel like I noticed the joke there, and then I was worried about what I was going to say, because I stumble over my words as it is. Yanni says, M3DM gaming content? I've thought about it. Aloha says, no, I meant other art streamers I've seen. That makes sense. It's nice. It might be much nicer here, but give them a chance too. Sometimes it just takes a while for them to find, like, their flow, because I definitely didn't know in the beginning. Because even though when you first showed up, Aloha, the end of last year, that wasn't my first time streaming. I had done it somewhat regularly a few years beforehand. So it just takes a while, I think. You have to find a combination of, like, what you're really like and kind of, like, I say it's like a persona, but not really. I mean, I mentioned, like, one day I know I'm going to meet some of you guys in person. They'll be like, I don't know, you'll see. I'll be super rich and famous. I'll do a meet and greet. It'll be awesome. And specifically, I don't know. I've always liked hosting and the idea of having, like, if you guys seen, like, Jenny D did this. Jenny D is so cool. I would love to meet her at some point too. But anyway, she did a D&D in a castle. And so she hosted a session and there was food and again, it was in a freaking castle. And I'm like, that's the kind of meet and greet I would want to do. That is so freaking cool. Anyway, my point being is I'm not a very good actress. What you see is what you get kind of thing. But on stream, you do need to have a different pacing still. So it's like a tailored version of yourself, but it's not quite a full persona. I don't know. If it's too far away from what you're normally like, you're gonna, like, burn through your, like, energy battery way too fast. You're gonna have, like, a 45-minute stream. All right, right now I'm back to a little bit of art here. I'm getting this ready for 3D print prep. So I'm merging the dragon into its one piece and the base into its one piece. The odds of this actually post-processing on the first go are pretty much 0, but I'm still going to try. And it'll be a little easier to narrow down where any potential problems are. Foxy says, more limericks, and now I know it's from ChatGPT. You've ruined the magic, but I'm still giving you credit. To always speak truth is quite brave, but sometimes it digs its own grave. It's true, that's me. But lies, once they start, can tear you apart. So honesty is how you behave. I like that. David says, I think it's because I hate watching people do stuff. I just want to do it. With you, I can just work by looking over my questions, or I'm curious about your progress. I think that's the magic of it. I think you nailed it, David. Where it's kind of like, I've called it like a art party. Like everyone's kind of doing their own thing, whether you're at work or if you're also drawing or whatever. I imagine I wouldn't be very relaxing to read a book to, but any other non-auditory thing would probably pair nicely. We're being very meta right now in the chat, but I like it. I'm so excited this is almost finished. Oh my goodness. Okay. I need this to be, because the feet are so close to being flat right now, I didn't push height, which means if I print this dragon as is without the base, I'm just making it a pain in the ass. Let's be real. So if you don't have a reason for not having the feet flat, just make them flat. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna grab my Move Topological brush, and I'm also gonna isolate independent legs here. And I'm just gonna lower it so everything is nice and flat, and that way they can, if they do want to print it separate, they can, and just add it to the base after the fact. I'm personally going to print it as one giant piece, because God knows I'm not gonna paint this. If you guys are wondering, like, do I hate painting? No, I love it. I just literally don't do it. I'm sure you guys have lots of things that you feel that way about. Don't even get me started on that. Having things that you love, but you don't just do them. And like, yes, you can cite like depression. I am not depressed. I just don't do them. I don't know why. I'm like super greedy with my own energy is the best way I can put it. I think it's because I was tired chronically for like years. Partly for having a terrible attitude, if I'm being totally honest. And then I kind of, once I did get healthier habits, I was like, I'm just going to sit here with all this energy and not spend it. I'm getting much better. A lot of this has to do with doing stuff with my horse, honestly. Because even though he's super fun and whatnot, and at the end of the day, horses are cool. They're fun. They're super stressful and large and dangerous. So, yeah, it can be difficult to get myself to do more than what's needed, even though I really enjoy it. That's a philosophical problem I'm still figuring out. I'll get back to you. Below it says, too long, didn't read. Mia is elite second monitor content for all ages and skill level. Precisely. For those that must be chronically entertained. Guilty. Yes. It also, like, if I'm working on something and I find someone else is also making steady progress, it's kind of like I can vampire that energy for myself. It's like a little supportive art group. Hey, Empress is here. Protect that personal energy at all costs, to the point where you don't spend it. I love what Seder is saying here to Empress. So for context, Empress is one of my students, and I review my student work during happy hour, which happens during every stream in about an hour. And Seder says, Empress, welcome back. I had something to say to you yesterday during the student review, but now I don't remember. So enjoy knowing that you missed out on a compliment. I love it. Empress says no. I'm sure it's just good vibes, good stuff. If it helps jog your memory, Seder, she had turned in an assignment where she had made the potions. All right, so these front feet are still too tall. Womp, womp. Scoot, scoot. Yeah, this is not exactly a hard science. I just scoot around the feet until they're the same height. That's it. Scoot. All right, and I flip it upside down to make sure I have a decent mass surface area. Again, this is going to be quite a large print, I suspect, so I don't really need to worry about the feet having that much surface area because it's going to be much, much larger than tiny mini feet anyway. And by tiny mini feet, I mean like this guy. Like he's got, okay, he's also in clear resin, it's hard to see, but like he's got tiny little feet, you know? This dragon's going to be much bigger than this, so I don't really need to worry about it too much. All right, that's looking mostly good. I'm gonna go ahead and actually do this manually because the feet are really textured for God knows why. So I'm going to come in with a masking paintbrush to make sure it's just perfectly smooth. Little dragon feet. There we go. Perfect. I'm going to stretch these straight down and now flatten. Awesome. Aw, man, I'm so proud of this. You know, every now and then you kind of look at stuff and you're like, damn it, am I improving? And then you see something like this and what's all in front of you, you're like, hell yeah. Yeah, I am. Of course, there's things I can identify. They'd be like, oh, I can push this more or whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm feeling really good about this. We're getting some confetti for that. It's almost done. Just know that if you haven't had a piece that you've been really excited about or proud of, just keep on creating. You're going to get there. It just takes time. And the worst part is you're not going to know that you're working on that piece you're going to be super proud of probably until it's done. So just keep making stuff. It's gonna work out. Oh, man, I love this thing. Empress says, I'm actually a bit stumped on what to do for my assignment. I was thinking about like a tree stump tabard pet thing. You should absolutely do that. Do it. And it's a pun, and everyone loves that. And then Sager says, Mia, I guess that's maybe what it is. You're personable, which translates to being approachable. That's very funny you say that, because as a kid, I was frequently criticized by my peers for being unapproachable. Like, looking back, I think it was just like weird, jealous, shitty kid stuff. But that was a very common thing. Being pretentious and unapproachable were like very common. Again, this is like from freaking 8th grade. Me thinks I should let that go. Anyway, it's when you hear like the same word, even though it's 20 years later in a positive context, it feels good. Anyway, Sater says, and you engage, which makes you accessible. So you're the role model that becomes a mentor because not only do you teach, you uplift. I love that I just gave like a whole little spiel about making your best art. So yeah, you recognize your strengths, but you're open, accepting your weaknesses, which makes people empathize with you and feel that you'll be able to empathize with them. That's true. And that's definitely a skill that I didn't have really even 6 months ago. I've gotten much better at accepting criticism. It's not that I have a problem with accepting criticism. It's I have a problem with like publicly making mistakes, I guess. But then in the last few months, it's become a lot of fun to make mistakes on stream. It's been a nice little healthy cycle for sure. And yeah, Satyr to Empress, make a little stick elemental, like the little twig from Fantastic Beasts. Yeah, here, Empress, I hope this is inspiring more than it is like giving an answer. So I'll give you a chance to not look if you don't want to. But I made a baby tree ant a while ago. And I think it's relevant to what you're talking about. If you don't want to be spoiled and you want to have your own creative ideas, don't look for the next 30 seconds. You've been warned. He's just a little guy. And you're like, that's just baby Groot. I know, but it's not. I didn't mean for it to look so similar, but it kind of ended up looking similar. But I love this little guy. And no, he does not have a booty. He's just a normal freaking tree. This is way before booty days. This was in 2021. So there you go. Resting Witch Face says, sucking at something is the first step to becoming kind of good at something. It's true, but no one feels good at sucking at something. So it's I'm learning now that's fun. That stage can actually be a lot of fun, but yes. All right, I now need to make the base flat as well, which I don't think will be very difficult. I mean, I can also just tilt the whole model. Just like, you. Yeah, we're gonna do that. That's way easier. Oh, it's Tudu Wudu. Yeah. That'd be a good one too. On the off chance you're not just a complete Pokemon dork. Tudu Wudu. And then what's the little one? Bonsley. It should be here. Where is it? There, Bonsley, without an E. Also a fun little version you could do. So there you go, lots of inspiration. Also, you should definitely do this, Empress, because just a quick review on your assignment. I specifically pointed out that the way that you textured the wood here looked more whimsical than like the more, I guess, realistic, like scratchy tree texture or wood texture I did. And specifically, I think this texturing technique would really benefit this possible little tree elemental dude you're gonna make. So keep that in mind. You already know how to make that texture, so use this technique again. All right, we're looking pretty good here. This is 9.5 million polygons. Let's see how the mesh is doing. That's not too bad. It's been worse. We're just gonna click Fix Mesh. Hope that that doesn't just blow up. It didn't. Woo. And I'm gonna save this. Let's see if I can decimate it first. Oh, the head looks all goofy now because of the poly paint. Sad. That's okay. Let's just do a blanket fill poly just for right now. There we go. Cool. Now the tail's all goofed up too. Nah, whatever. No poly paint. We'll go decimation master, pre-process current. Aloha says, by the way, can we talk about how Empress before the student program was screaming when opening ZBrush and now is able to make things and do the shapes? It's pretty awesome. I've wanted to like aggressively point that out in pretty much like a little Empress art party, but I don't know if she has that confidence yet. I think after a couple more projects like this where she makes her own little critters, it'll be undeniable. But yeah, you are doing the thing, Empress. It's freaking awesome. We all are sending lots of love your way. Yeah, from anxiety and just opening ZBrush to making a whole poly-painted potion stand. No kidding. And now pretty much designing your own original creature. It's gonna be awesome. All right, we're now at the stage where we kind of sit here and wait. This little bar at the top is the progress for Decimation Master. And it's very important that you don't mess with the program when anything up there is happening. Otherwise, it'll crash and freeze. Also, if you press escape and stop any processes like this from happening, it's very likely that they're still cooking in the background. So just make sure that you open your activity monitor in Mac or task manager in Windows and actually close out that process all of the way, because it usually just stays open. Your best bet is just to leave it alone and hope that it succeeds. It's been a lot of work, but it's been awesome. All right, so this is gonna be a Cherry Blossom Dragon post-process. Took me longer than I was hoping, but I'm really happy with the results, so that's all that matters. We're gonna decimate this to, we'll go 3/4 million points. So I don't want to lose any resolution. There we go. How is that looking? Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm now going to do remesh by union, which is going to take all these meshes that are like intersecting and then make that geometry flush and solid as if it's just one piece. It's going to have a bunch of errors, I guarantee it. Usually not a problem. Oh, it didn't even try. Okay, that is a problem. So when I click auto groups after doing a Boolean operation, see how there's lots of colors here? That's bad. It should be just one color. But that's okay. I've been doing this for a long time and got lots of tricks. First thing we're gonna do is close holes, and then we're gonna just tell it to do it again. And if it doesn't, have a couple other things I can try. And then if it still doesn't, I will brute force it, which means I'll start from the front of the model, split into separate subtools, and just kind of like stitch it together piece by piece. That is worst case scenario. We'll see what happens. Haha. I got it. Should you brute force things? No. But if it's going to save you a ton of time, maybe try it once or twice and see what happens. All right, this is looking really good. We're now going to decimate it to 500,000 points. Usually my characters and creatures are closer to 200,000. And it's like, what does that mean? That's just like the amount of shapes that make up the big shape. So like polys or points, that's all they're talking about. So if you have 1,000,000 polys, that's more than 200,000. So the file size is going to be bigger, which means that when you prepare that for 3D printing, it just bogs down your slicer. So you want the file to be optimized. Here, if I zoom in here, see this? All these shapes? If you count every single one of those up, there is 555,000 of them. And that makes up this whole thing. All right, the feet are probably gonna have problems because of the way I flattened them. That does not surprise me. So I'll just come through and smooth those out. But first, let me just flatten them. There we go. This is where the knife brush can be great because the knife brush generates a new topology. However, the knife brush really likes to crash, so I'm just holding my breath. Sweet. So do you see, let me zoom in here. This is the after, this is the before. Come on, before. The topology is kind of like intersecting on itself, which can cause 3D print errors, especially areas like this are pretty gnarly. It's not the end of the world. It's still going to print. It will. But this is much nicer, and that's the kind of quality I strive for. So there you go. All right, I'm going to zoom in on the head. I actually really can't go much lower poly than this because it is a big boy. Ray says, I am back. What did I miss? I pretty much just post-processed the whole dragon in like 3 button clicks, and it did not crash the program. So we're celebrating. That's what's happening. Do not recommend. But if you think it might possibly work, try it. What are you gonna miss? You might end up saving yourself hours of time. So it's worth a shot. The proper way is to very carefully boolean each piece at a time. So like the head to the neck to the antlers. I just did the whole thing at once. You're like, gee, can't that cause a lot of issues? Absolutely. But it didn't. So we're good. All right, same goes right here. We got some stuff that's intersecting. I'm gonna just remesh by union. And I'm also gonna make sure that none of these flowers have huge overlaps because I cannot stand adding pre-supports to my base. The base should just print. If it requires supports, I don't want to deal with it. That's just a personal thing. Most people have no problem with that. I don't know. I just feel like it shouldn't be that much work. I love these little coin details, but I think they should only be towards the back where the Torii Gate is. Like they're offerings. The reality is just like a super tiny Torii Gate back here, but I do love the headcanon where the Torii Gate here is like normal scale. So what is that, like 20 feet tall? And this dragon is pretty much as like big as a city. So now I'm gonna do the same thing. We're gonna try and Boolean this whole thing together. It did not like the grass, so I'll use a knife brush to flatten it, and we'll try again. Sater says, we were just talking about how she bullied you and you ran away. Oh, I did say that. But I knew, like, even though you weren't here, I didn't think I hurt your feelings. I figured you were just busy. Ray says, my friend called me to tell me how her date went. I was enjoying the gossip. Very nice. Dude, I love getting details from my friends. Like, on stuff like that, it's my absolute favorite. Because I have, like, I want it to go well for them, obviously. But I am way past having to deal with dating because I am very happily married. So it's nice when my friends have nonsense to share. Wow, what the heck is going on with this mesh? We have some of it as like flipped normals or something. Here, we're just gonna cut the bottom off. Why? This is not the final boss I expected. I thought it was gonna be the dragon. It's this tuft of grass. What the fuck? Can we just not be like that? All right, close holes, merge down. Stop being like that. You're not important. You're just grass. All right, we're getting it. I think we got it. Also, this base is... Ooh, that looks like a problem. Ooh. When you have so many polygons overlapping that the part of your mesh just turns black, that's bad. Ooh, wow. Ray, look away. Ray is in school. He'll know how stupid this is. What if I just use a knife brush? Please generate better topology. Oh, sweet. It actually did. This is the before. This is the after. Yay. All right. Crisis averted. Everything is fine. I am post-processing this like an absolute gremlin, but it's working, so I'm not going to do anything better. I'm the kind of person, I play video games where, like, if the video game does not require skillful playing, I will not. It's the same way where I can't invest in, like, oh, like, more health or vitality or whatever they call it in the game you're playing, because I'll just spend it like currency until I don't have any. So, fun fact about me. I'll never complain about a game like, oh, this game is too easy as a result. I'll just be like, wow, I hate that about myself, but just the way of things. All right, I don't think this needs to be 200,000 points. I also want the water to not be quite that lumpy. There we go. Perfect. Ray says, topology. Wow. And then to me, he says, I told her she had to call me as soon as she got back. Other people's love lives, I mean. I get entertainment and no stress. It's a huge win-win. I am deeply grateful I was able to just skip the dating scene in college completely. Sater says, my best friend, aside from my wife, wants to find her person in the worst way, and it's such on all the apps, trying to find her way through. Man, some of the things she tells me. I know, it is entertaining though. Okay, so I have a crazy story for you guys. So, one of my best friends, Walker, he is the guy that lives in Indiana, got his PhD in mechanical engineering. A girl that he dated a couple of years ago, again, they broke up. It was on fine terms. As good as a breakup can be, right? He broke up with her. That is relevant, I promise. And then about this last December, they both love dogs, and he had this really cute Christmas card and stuff. So he sent it to her, and just like, hey, like, this is the family, like, we're being cute and stuff. And she was like, yeah, I totally forgot about like, you guys. I'm glad you're doing really well. She's like, hey, I know this is really weird, but I think you'd really get along with my boss. And so who's a vet. And so she set him up, and they like totally hit it off. They've been together for a few months now. And when I tell you that this guy does not date, but like he wants to be with someone, like he wants that end goal, right? And so does this vet too. And like neither one of them want kids. They're both complete dorks. They both love animals. It has just been absolute poetry, and they have the goofiest meeting story. So, pretty beautiful. Love's out there. I met my husband in geometry. It doesn't have as much of a ring to it, does it? Resting Witch Face says, this is going to be chaos, I already know. The only dating apps I use are lowballing people on Facebook Marketplace and then getting into arguments when they tell me no. You're an absolute gremlin. Oh my god. Sater says, granted, I am night and day to the dude she tells me about, and I can't imagine it'd be much better for a guy like me that gives a shit. So yeah, glad I don't have to worry about that. Agreed. David says, Mia, if you'd like a break, I'm going brain dead on making these pants. I could very much use some help. The fabric folds in particular. Yes, I can help you. Let's do it. I don't want to scale this right now, and I really would like a break. And this is pretty much like post-process. I did the thing. So let's kind of just squish you on there. Give you a fun render. It's so tall, it makes it very difficult to render. Where's some perspective? Render. And then we're going to show you guys how to make pants. How's that sound? Sater says, I met my wife on World of Warcraft. You're kidding me. That's so dorky. I love that. Wow. Kind of? Not kind of? That's fantastic. David says, I remember the XYZ, when I do it, it looks so busy. Yeah, I get you. I got you. I'm on my way. Do you have a reference you're specifically trying? Oh, I took a screenshot with me doing this. That's bad. Let's just, all right. That's why I have to say smile. Otherwise I don't. Okay. I did the smile. All right. Dragon. Yeah, if you have a reference you're working from, just send it to me. I'll use that. Otherwise, I'll just make one up. Ray says, who did the potion bottles, by the way? I saw them pop up, but couldn't hear anything. That would be Empress. Aladdin pants. Ooh, okay. Did you send me a picture of them? Oh, kind of. All right, we're going to just jump right into happy hour. It is happy hour. If you guys have questions, and you guys being students of mine, so I have a mentorship program. It's $1 a day, and I teach you guys how to use ZBrush or just sculpt in general and improve if you already know the fundamentals. So in that case, if you're using Blender, it's fine. But if you have no idea how to 3D model, you do need ZBrush to learn from me. Mini Mimics uses Blender and already knows some fundamentals, so this works out. They're working on some pants. We got some Aladdin pants. And oh yes. Okay, first of all, the character is looking quite nice. I do see where you're struggling with the pants. Let me show you. Let me show you how I would do these. First things first, let me save this dragon before I forget. That would be very sad. Next up, I'm just gonna grab something from Project. Let's go with this guy. All right, we have a dude. This is looking better. This is more cleaned up. All right, so first things first, we're going to mask the general shape. They're going to end just above the knee. And it'll be a little different in Blender, obviously, so translate as needed. I'm going to zero mesh just once so it's nice and smooth, and it kind of has like that drop crotch thing. It's like an actual thing that's called a pant. You know what I'm talking about. Also going to change this to polyskin so you can see it a little better. All right, and then next we're going to start making the actual shape of the pant. The easiest way to do this is to mask right above the knee right here, and then use the inflate brush. See? You can use polish by features to kind of round them off, or use a smooth brush. All right, now that we mostly have the right shape, I'm not gonna worry about the back of the pants too much. Like I'll do some work here. We're mostly gonna worry about the front. All right, we roughly got the same shape. Your pants look so much longer. I think even for you, the drop crotch is too low. You can have it like low, but not to the knees. It's a little too low. All right, adjust with the move brush, and then finally, let's get into some fabric folds. I'm gonna add some resolution with Command D, and then I'm gonna simply use my standard brush for this. You are getting these layering shapes right, and this already looks much better than what you had before, but you're not putting them quite in the right spot. It's going to be all the way at the bottom of the material. I think anytime fabric moves, there's a fold. So it's not really happening right here. It's happening here. That's when that transition of space is happening. Oh, that's a different reference, but I do like that a lot too. All right, so again, I'm gonna draw a mask right here, just so I don't mess with the taper. And now, using the standard brush, I just click and drag, big swoop. If I do a swoop that I like, I press 1 on my keyboard to repeat it. You could just use a heavier stroke to start with. Then by holding Option, I can take away material. So undoing all that, we add, we take away. We add, we take away. And I pretty much keep doing that. And then looking at your reference, you can really get more accurate and more intentional with these fabric swoops. And then the size of the fabric fold will help dictate what that material looks like. And then you can use your move brush to kind of push and move them around. But that's like a really quick demo. In order to do the fabric folds up here, because it looks like you do have the swoops kind of figured out to some extent, so I'm not going to do too much there. But I don't see any fabric folds that look like this. You guys see this? So I'll do a little demo on compression. That'll be at the top here. I'm also going to mask again so I don't lose that waistline. And these are pretty much like pipe folds. They're going to click and drag straight down and then remove. You're going to remove, you're going to add. Remove, add, remove, add. And I'm doing this really quickly because I am able to invert the brush. I don't know if you can do that in Blender, but I bet you can. And then come over to the bottom of it and smooth gently upwards. Smooth more on the very, very end and then less as you move up. And then you take your move brush and kind of scoot them around. But there's a couple different fabric folds that'll help you out. Hey, Jessie's here. Welcome back. The fabric fold be folding. They sure do. She sure do. Mia, and then David says, Mia, that's exactly why I asked. The top killed me. Okay, cool. That's why I wanted to show that. All right, let's keep going then, because I did pretty much the same fabric fold here. I'll break symmetry now and kind of show like this pocket that there's going on here. Fabric folds can get really noisy really fast, and honestly, they tend to look kind of good. I'm always surprised that with fabric folds, more is more. And I don't usually like that when it comes to detail density. Just imagine that when you're doing this, you're putting like sketch lines. If you're not really sure what you're doing, just put a line down, be like, do you like that? No. Okay, that looks a little bit better. And that makes sense because that's where the tension point would start from. So you can start light and build up. Just don't scribble. Like, make sure there's intention. Like, before you do a single fabric fold, think, what is happening here? I know that there's going to be a fold that pulls away from the bottom of his butt, so that's what I did. I know at the top here, these are going to compress. So there's going to be high points and low points side by side. I also know that this material is kind of thin at the top, so I'm going to go with thin fabric folds. Does that make sense? All right, now I have a weird combo of both pants in order to make it look more like that. It's actually way lower. We got combo pant going on here. It's like kind of between your first reference and your second. You get the point though. All right. And then most important step, spiral brush. Obviously joking. Great question though. If you need more guidance on that, get some practice in it and then ask again and I'll show you again. David says, Mia, awesome, thank you. You're very welcome. All right, I need to find out more about Seder and his wife. Okay, Seder says, okay, this is the love story of the century. So first off, let me go ahead and open up my Cherry Blossom Dragon again, because this is an art stream. There we go. Now, Sater says, all right, long story short, but I love the long version. We knew each other in World of Warcraft. She was going on spring break to Florida in her senior year of undergrad. A friend and I that played asked where, and it was like 30 miles from where we lived. No shit, that's so close. So we all met up and hung out. She was in a really shitty relationship at the time, but we still clicked, and even more than we had. When she went back, that relationship went from bad to worse, and she ended it. Okay. I was the first person she called, and slowly, one thing led to another. After 3 flights between Pennsylvania and Florida, between the two of us, I decided to move since I was just working and bumming around. That's awesome. She already had a job and was starting a career, so I applied to art school, got in, another long story, and at least the girl worked out, even though the art career didn't. At the end, you got the girl. Everybody loves that. That's amazing. That's a really cute story. Amazing. And then resting witch face. Don't forget the banana hammock. Bad peasant. Resting witch face also says, my favorite word for clothing folds and folds is tension point. Yes. Gravity be gravitying, and it starts, where does it resist that is good to know. Unless it's just like pulling across your body. That also could be tension. Anyway, Ray says, Mia, with fabric folds, would you work in symmetry for the base shapes and then turn it off to change it up a bit? Exactly. Ray says, not Mia pretending she's working on the dragon while she reads out Sater's love story. Yeah. A little bit. Hey, Mal's here. Welcome in. All right. I need to finish this stupid thing because it's been 2 hours and it was supposed to be 30 minutes and I feel betrayed. And by stupid thing, I mean thing that I love very much, actually. I'm very proud of it. But damn it, I want it to be done. All right. We're going to scoot this down. Move topological. Scoot in these claws. I guess if you printed these separate, you would just like Mod Podge these together. Or whatever green stuff, magic painter trick you got going on. Except for this flower that I did not realize is totally floating. Bad flower. Okay, we're gonna just disappear you. Be gone. Ooh, it's going to resist being disappeared. That's okay. Go away. Why won't you go away? First the grass, now this flower. That cracks me up that the base was honestly trickier. All right, I won. There we go. Perfect. All right. So this is kind of interesting because usually I do a lot of like fancy scale work, and that means like sizing to figure out what would be exact, but it's a dragon, so I can kind of just do whatever I want. I'm going to export just the dragon and the base as separate pieces, and then put them into, what is the issue? Oh, polypaint. There's no polypaint. What are you doing? Anyway, and then put them into Mesh Mixer and see if there's any issues. Technically, ZBrush will tell you if there's problems, but it will not tell you where. It will just be like, there's a problem. And I'm like, oh, cool. Show me so I can fix it. And then it's like, ah, you're cute. So that's why I like using Mesh Mixer, because it will scream specifically where the issue is. That flower, yeah, it was real fighting. It's okay, I won. Yeah, the base did give you more trouble than the dragon. What the heck? I love when she says the thing I'm typing, it happens at least once a week. It really does. Ray says, the Torii Gate would have probably seemed life-size if next to the trees instead of grass. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's just really, really tall grass. All right, we're gonna hit edit, align, because these are super tiny when you're working in ZBrush. And then the Y and Z are flipped. So I'll come over here and click rotate by 90. and then resize. All right, this is a normal 28mm scale mini, so this needs to be like gigantic. That just makes him like normal dude size. Let's go for way bigger than that. While still fitting on a build plate. This is my Lego Saturn S build plate, so I know this will fit. And then even if you don't have a gigantic printer, it'll still fit. There we go. Rusting Witch Face says, the dragon popped out of a tiny torii gate. The lore is deep. I know you said small torii gate, but the alliteration opportunity was there, so I took it. Oh, and then you said pooped instead of popped. Man, I didn't catch that. That would have been funnier. And much more fitting for you. In the words of Mia, same brain cell. This is true. I know I did not come up with that myself. I cannot remember where I heard that. I have officially co-opted it to be like my own saying, but it's not original. And get out of here with a chat when nothing's original. You know what I mean. All right. Cherry Blossom Dragon. Let's go. Cherry. Can I spell it? Nobis. And now I fuse them together, which is totally wrong. The way that I do this and just combine instead of like booleaning it, which just means remeshing it. You're not supposed to do that. It's never caused any problems, and that's why I know it's not that big of a deal. Moop. There we go. Hey, I actually hit my timer that time. Exactly as I exported it. Delicious. Ricky is going to have a lot of fun rendering this. I hope he does a couple, because it's worth it. All right, it is time to mark stuff done on my spreadsheet, and I will show it to you, because that makes me happy. Oh, look, this is how I look at you guys. You can see my stats. I'm sure I'm not supposed to show this or something. It's fine. All right. Now, where is it? Finished. Finished. Ah. Now to my request board, which is way too zoomed in. That's okay. This goes from work in progress. Oh, it's not clicking because it's zoomed in and broken. Why are you being like that? It does think it's the actual size. All right, we're not going to edit this because Google Drive is terrible in Safari. I used to have Chrome, but Chrome would blow up my computer while I streamed for no reason. So, bad Chrome. All right. Now I'm going to upload it. Wow, it's really hard to type when half my computer is under my tablet. There we go. Oh, I do want to have a version of this where I export the decorative base by itself. Please tell me I didn't close Mesh Mixer already. I didn't. Oh, very good. Undo. Grab just this base. Decorative base. I don't usually offer decorative bases separate, but I probably should. Bam. All right, we're all done. Yay. Resting witch face. Golf clap. I like it. Cedar says, I've been a mythology nerd since 4th grade. Surprising nobody. Started with Greek, had a Greek teacher, and slowly branched out from there over the years. Asian mythologies have some awesome stuff. They really do. All right, now we're gonna get this bad boy printed, and you can expect a beautiful 3D print of this in a couple days. I didn't even check the scale on that at all. I just was like, that looks good. It's fine. Alrighty, I think it is time to take a break, and then I will come back and get more stuff done. Hey, new sub. Thanks, Gabriel. If you're lurking in the stream, hello. If you just happen to be somewhere else on my channel, I send you distant hello. Alrighty. Releasing soon. Sweet. Resting Witch Face says, can I request you to resculpt a discontinued GW model that I want to do myself, but the field in which my brain cells grow is barren and unyielding. I could do something inspired by it. Their Games Workshop is terrifying, so I'm not sure how different you'd be okay with it being. And then yes, you could request, absolutely. But to make it official, that costs money, honey. Ray says, it's so interesting, it always makes me want to make art based on it. Is that to do with mythology or the specific GW model? There we go, yeah, like Greek, then Roman, because I'm sure you know, then Egyptian, then Norse, now Japanese. Very cool. It is banana smoothie time. Jesse nailed it. Mal says, how you missed happy hour. No, it's actually happening right now. So if you, you messaged me. Let's do it. Hey, you made another head. Awesome. All right, let's talk about it. So I have a very challenging assignment for Mal right now, who is Max. They're the same. And this is their first time making a head from scratch. And the whole point of this assignment is to run up this mountain multiple times. You're not going to make it all the way up the first time. You're going to get a little farther each time. So they did it once, and I can tell they didn't get too bogged down doing it, which is great. So I gave them some general feedback, and now this is their second submission. And sure enough, it's better. I love that. I love to see it. Growth with art is rarely linear, but it is sure nice when you go in the right direction the first time. The biggest improvement that I'm seeing here is the main volumes of the head. So the head is just a big sphere with a cylinder stuck on the front of it. And here, that cylinder, this is a cylinder is too far pushed away from the sphere. They actually overlap a lot more than that. And that was my biggest note, I think, last time. And that's what they did. Bam. I love that a lot of your landmarks are pretty spot on too. Your ear is right at the top of or ends the top of your eye. That is correct. The nose is on the shorter side, but that could be correct. And then you are having some problems with the mouth. Honestly, same. So the top lip generally sticks out slightly further than the bottom. So I would just mask the bottom part and just scoot it back a little bit. You're doing a pretty good job with the jaw not just being a perfectly harsh line, but you could blend that transition even more. I love that you have the jaw terminate this point underneath the ear, or just in front of it. That's also correct. Some of the bony landmarks here are a little misplaced, like the edge of the orbital socket, but mostly really good. The biggest improvement here, other than the main volumes, is that this looked like you were more so sculpting a skull because some of these bony landmarks were so exaggerated. This looks like you got some flesh on that face, which is awesome. We're gonna let this sit. We'll just put this all to the back of your mind. Don't worry about it anymore. And now, we're gonna give you a new assignment. Thader says, huge difference, great progress, Max. Resting Witch Face says, very head-like. It is. Okay, let's grab you a new assignment. I honestly don't know what I want to give you right now. You had some good practice here. Are you ready for project work? I'm always so protective of my students. I don't want to put you on project work unless I feel like you're ready, because once you start project work, it's pretty much like you're thrown into the deep end. You have to like create a character and like design, and most students are super excited for this point, but I've learned over the years that if I put you in project work too soon, they drown. Like they just immediately drown. So it's on me to make sure that's a good transition. I don't know. I feel like you're ready, Max, especially because of this specific submission you did makes me think that you're ready for project work. Okay, I'm nervous about it. But Max is officially graduating to project work, guys. It's happening. Max, do you have any preference on whether you work on a creature or a character? The initial assignment is somewhat similar. And this initial assignment has no sculpting whatsoever. You were just going to like plan the aspects of it. So like size, species, gender, whether they have weapons, that kind of stuff. And it's a lot of gathering references. Elo says, project work is big brave time. It is, it is. Hey, Matt's here. Welcome back. Matt says, I wonder what it is about humans that has all these different cultures creating their versions of dragons. There are so many fun conspiracies on that. You have no idea. Which, to be clear, I am the most boring person. I don't believe in any conspiracies. All nonsense. But God, I love reading about them. I'm like, that would be cool, wouldn't it? All right, Max says a character. All right, let me grab you that first assignment. I'm so excited for you. Don't freak out. And if you do freak out, message me. Be like, this was too much. Please give me a bite-sized assignment. You gotta let me know, though. I don't want you drowning. All right. Your assignment is to begin creating a character. Do not sculpt anything for this assignment. You can create a 2D sketch or just type out the details. Collect reference images. And not one or two, like 10. Grab a reference for each aspect of the model that you want. Alrighty. I'm going to send this over to you. I have some pretty old videos you can review. Don't feel like you need to watch the entire thing. And if you're not planning on design for 3D printing, you can skip that too. But I like to give you lots of resources. Where's my enter button? There you go. All right. You're all set. Be brave. Yeah, Sater says communication is key. I believe in you, Max. But if you feel overwhelmed or lost, tell her. Yep, she can't. This is the second time today we've said the exact same thing, Sater. I love it. I love it. I love how everyone's like, yeah, because dragons are real. They're not real. They're not real. They are not real. Okay, it's okay. I love the, you know what? I would rather live in a world where I think that they were real. So you know what? Sure, they're real. This brings me back to a full circle moment where I think astrology is, I think it's silly. I was going to try to like censor myself here. I think it's silly. I think astrology is really silly. I don't believe in it at all. That being said, girls and gals, guys and gals that believe in astrology and like do the whole crystal thing and whatever, I cannot deny that they are happier and nicer people than me generally. So I always keep that in mind. And I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter if that like crystal isn't actually imbued with the energy you think it is, because you think it is, therefore it is. And that's kind of beautiful. And I think it'd be way cooler if dragons did exist. You know what? Fine. There you go. A quite literal version of like life is what you make it, to a dangerous degree. But it's true. Mean Cat says, memes are real. Wake up. Sater says, me, actually the third time, one more time, it'll be a new creepy record. Oh, that's right. Oh, Jesus Christ. Resting Witch Face says, dragons were actually turned into COVID vaccines by Johnson & Johnson. Don't go there. Don't go. Let's not go full crazy. Oh my God. With that, I'm going to leave the mods to deal with you guys, and I'm going to go on break. Don't burn the place down. Thanks. See you guys in about 15 to 30 minutes. I'm not sure which one it's going to be. Hello, I am back. Took a pretty normal length break, but I barely just finished my smoothie making it. I was in the pasture babying my horse, making sure he's not dying. He's fine. He is completely fine. So Yes. All right. What have you guys been up to? Hey, just Lingle's here. Hello, hello. Sater says, I really hope Mia reads back through this chat. It's possibly the most unhinged thing I've ever seen. All right. We're scrolling. I did leave you guys with conspiracy theories on the brain. Hey, non-sleepers here. Hello, hello. Oh, there's a mention of Sasquatch. I like it. Hollow bone theory. It's not too bad. If the event Star Wars happened a long time ago, what if we are the result of a starseed theory, but Star is another clone project from the humans of that galaxy? Jesus Christ. Yeah. Hey, Dragon's here. Welcome back. Did I come back to some lit Star Wars fanfic? Yeah, I think you did. I just got a text saying, it's time for your annual checkup. I was just talking about that earlier today. No. I hate appointments more than anything. And not just like the doctor or dentist, like I just hate appointments. Okay. This is beautiful. Good job, peasants. Putting in hard work while I'm gone. Has Reaper left for their first day on the job yet? I think so. Of which I think I'm going to work on her character right now. If I work on them in order, it'd be the Fall of Aloha. Do not have the battery for that right now. That might be like a personal project off stream. We'll see. Dragon says, what is a conspiracy theory but a fanfic that people took too seriously? Amen to that. All right, let's go ahead and get rolling. I have reset us to Tavern Keeper's Craft. That being said, if you're a student and you missed, go small. There we go. And you missed asking questions or having me review your work, you can send me a DM now. I'll probably get to it now or first thing tomorrow. David says, have a second if I send a pants update. Yes, it will be better feedback if you share it tomorrow, but it will be concise if you share it now. Does that make sense? Slater says, Mia, she's been gone. I think she missed the love lore. She may or may not be upset about that. Yeah, she did miss out on the love story. Okay. And we're going to work on her character right now, too. Sorry, Reaper. Maybe that's for the best, because if I get feedback from her live, I might get too lost in the sauce of the character. Oh my god, where is it? I think I accidentally deleted it. Because it should be here. When I search Reaper, nothing shows up. Ooh, we panicking. Panic. Aloha says, Mia, the package has been deployed. Oh, I noticed. I'm excited about it. That is a new record, Sater. Officially. Alright. I deleted Reaper's character. Son of a... Okay. It's somewhere. I worked on it so long ago, there's no way it's going to be in my quick saves. I can figure this out. I don't have a meltdown confetti, but I'm feeling it. How did I delete this? This has never happened before. Maybe I just didn't name it Reaper. Oh, jeez. Son of a biscuit is what she was trying to say. Did I say the real thing? Because I meant the real thing. Let's look at pants instead of having a meltdown. Oh, this looks way better. Hey, you did the thing. You nailed it. If you want to go for more definition, or it depends how stylized you want it to look. Like these wraps look fairly stylized. If you take a crease brush and outline the very edge of these, you'll get more of that stylized look. But this is quite nice. Good work. Non-sleeper scent, the start of a project. Oh, heck yeah. Oh, I love, this is awesome. I love a lot here. Wow. You already have it like posed too. Look how stylized and fun that head is. Oh man. It reminds me of like a grown-up Spyro almost. I like the subtleties of the muscle groupings here too. Man, non-sleeper. Just keep going. I don't even have a whole lot of feedback on this. Just keep going. This is looking fantastic. Very good. Wow. I'm really impressed. It's one of the best things I've seen from you. All right, back to Meltdown. Where is this? Yeah, I don't think I named it Naira. This is so unlike, I don't think I've ever done this, where I've just completely deleted a project. Ricky says, check your trash. I know, I'm in my trash. I'm trash pandaing right now. All right, what's the oldest thing in my trash? That will kind of give me... Okay, it goes back to December 31st. It has to be in here. Okay, where the fuck is this? Sorry, excuse me. I even have petal in here. Like what? Dwarf Children, AAA, Nobleman Rug. If it's not in here, it means I didn't save it at all. I just scrubbed through the end of the stream on Reaper, and I can't see saving it all. You exited the model and opened the Tower Pet thing when you return from break. Holy fuck. Okay. That's why it's not in my trash, because it doesn't exist. Okay. Yeah, you're more than 3 minutes in. Your monetization is safe. Yeah, you're right. Man. Sometimes I will have a... If it crashed at any point, this might be the saving grace, because it will save a copy of it under recent. That's why we have some other like weird oddball ones here. This is kind of our only saving grace. But the problem is that I didn't ever name it anything. I didn't save it a single time. I've made over 1,000 models and I've actually never done that. I know we joke about all the time. Like Mini Blaze reminds me to save. No, I know how to save my work. But wow, it happened. Yeah, I'm way back into old stuff at this point. I know. Did you save as a character's name other than Reaper? I didn't. Man, that sucks. Okay. Yeah, no, honestly, I'm so not. Empress, I can hear it too, and I'm glad it's not happening, because I'd be not in, like, this is like a not the time for that. This would be a not the time for that. Okay. It was May 14th. Okay. Yeah, it's 2 weeks ago. So that's far enough away. This is why it sucks when I get too backlogged with my projects. Because if it gets too far back, this happens. Well, there's a first for everything. And that's okay. Honestly, I think I can make this into, I have the energy to kind of speed run this in like a loving, thoughtful way without just rushing. Yeah, even if I had this set to 1,000 quick saves, it wouldn't be enough to fix this, so that's okay. Right, so I love that Mia's stressing that Yoni is heisting. I noticed that. Aloha sent a little clip. It's probably the end of it. I mean, that doesn't mean I didn't save at any point. Yeah, there's the character. So I only had quick saves of this then? I didn't save at any point? Like, that's what's so surprising to me. And I made the wizard have her pet. I even have the quick sculpt from this and everything. Fuck. Alright. Maybe it's titled Begin. No, that's just my beginning ZPR. I would have had to save over the beginning ZPR then. So this is still going to be normal. Yeah. Can you grab anything from that file thing? No, it wasn't saved. David says, sorry about that, but on the plus side, crease thing works great. I'm glad that works. No, it's okay. It never existed, so there's no recovering the file because I never, it only existed as a quick save. Honestly, a lot of the work of this model was the face and figuring out how I wanted it to look. So Aloha, thank you for sending me the, like the clip so I can see my work up close. I got this. What was the AA and AAA ZPR? Honestly, it's usually, I do that when I'm post-processing. So here are all the ZPRs that are in here. And it's definitely not Aardvark Z-spheres. I don't know why that would be in trash. Oh goodness, there's a lot in here. Yeah. Nah, I'm confident I never saved it. It is actually gone. Okay. It's okay. Do not panic. We got this. All right. It's going to be super art mode. You guys ready for this? All right, mods. Mods are in charge of the chat. Art mom's got some work to do. Let's go. All right, we're making a whole, the same character I did before. Again, because I deleted the file, or in fact, it never existed in the first place. Which is okay. It's good that Reaper wasn't here to see it. He was meant to be. Okay, let's go. So, a couple things here. I need this to be super skinny and emaciated. And I did that on stream kind of like as a teaching moment. But now, ain't nobody got time for that. I'm going to see if I can generate this using ZBuilder, which I don't normally use. I usually just do it myself. But I have that in here. I have ZBuilder animals, but not the main ZBuilder because I don't use it ever. All right, next plan. It's going to be creating the main base components as efficiently as possible, without it being rushed or unloved, because just because I made a mistake doesn't mean that the request is going to suffer for it. All right, I know she's going to have hair. And as far as the rest of it goes, and yeah, I am totally not part of the chat right now. I am just going to work. Sorry, guys. Actually, no, not sorry. This is going to be inspiring. You guys are going to watch something you've never seen before. I think I'm going to work in real time. It's going to actually happen. All right. I'm going to narrate as I go, but I'm going to pretend that I am filming a video for students. And that I'm not even actually live. Crazy. Do I need any of this? No. Because even though I work quite quickly, Thank you, Aloha. That's very sweet of you. That's extremely helpful. I've been scrubbing through this video. I got it. Thank you. That's very sweet. All right, we're cooking. 3 checkpoints if needed. Oh, you got the body as well. All right, we are so freaking in business. All right, I'm gonna screenshot the screenshots. I'm gonna throw them up my monitor. Oh yeah, I got this. I got it. Honestly, I was thankfully working kind of slow that day. Alrighty. I can feel your guys' love and support. We're cooking. So this is what we're starting with. Honestly, her goofy hair is super funny to me right now. So we're gonna just have like this just sit there. And you guys are gonna watch something really cool happen. I am still gonna poly paint as I go because that's fun and I do enjoy doing that. And I mean, you guys know this, but like, I work a lot faster off stream. But I love streaming a lot, and I think I end up with better work in the long run. That being said, I don't think it's the worst thing to use this as an opportunity to kind of show you guys what I do when no one's watching. No, but seriously though, it is a different kind of workflow. And I think it's a little harder to learn from, and that's why I don't work like this on stream. Because I don't work in order. I just do things as I want to do them. And it's just harder to follow in general, I believe. There we go. Also on the plus side, like genuinely, if I ever have to redo something because ZBrush crashes, I always make a point to make the second one better. So Reaper's kind of in luck. Also, for the love of God, can you guys not tell Mini Blaze this happened, please? Can we just have like a little peasant truce right now? Can I get your guys' word? I can't. I can hear her now, and I'm already like instant ban. It's okay. Maybe by tomorrow it'll be funny. Mirror and weld. And it's kind of interesting, like when I do this, because it's not gonna look that much faster. There's just zero fiddling, if that makes sense. And part of that is because I'm not doing my normal like revision process where I think like, is this the very best it can be? Did I explain that the very best I can? Because instead, we're just focusing on cooking. Which in the long run isn't as like sexy when it comes to art. If you're like, I'm gonna just make art and not try to improve. It doesn't sound good, right? But when you do it as a business, sometimes that's just what you have to do. Like when you block out a whole character and then you don't save it, and it's like, okay, learning time is over. It's time to cook. And if I really was pressed for time, I wouldn't bother with the poly paint, but nah, I got it. Again, I was luckily not working that fast that day, so I can just kind of have fun with this. I can still do things that I like to do. And then I'll definitely check in with you guys probably in, let me set a timer. We've been doing this for about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. I'm working on this. So I'll set a timer from now for 30 minutes and then I'll check in with you guys. That way I'm not totally peasantless. I can feel you guys talking to me in the chat and it feels so weird to not look. But I know if I look, I'm going to be completely derailed. Even if it's positive and full of love. If there is someone new in the chat, just know that I normally would talk to you guys. I just, I deleted a project, so I have to create it again. Aloha is just like so in my corner Fuck yeah. Also, placing this here for the peasants, and for me, honestly, because it is helpful. This is the 2D concept that we are translating. There we go. And it helps that a lot of the heavy lifting, so like the design and figuring out how I'm going to do this, I already did it. It would be nice if I didn't have to redo it. But since that mental effort has been expended, a lot of this really is just kind of like, oh, the thing you did, just do that. And that's where it's like, that's easier said than done. That's where being a professional and doing it every day actually really comes in clutch. I'm like, the walk in the park. Now, if this was like Mr. Banana Sham's request for the insectoid, I would have to take a break to have a full little meltdown. But no, this is actually pretty within my wheelhouse and something I'm already comfortable with. Sweet. So right now I'm working on her hair. There's not really a whole lot of rhyme or reason. So when I do this for a teaching point, I'm very careful in what order I work on things. But in this case, I'm kind of working on the things that I think are most important to the design, if that makes sense. Her hairline got a little pushed back, so let's kind of restore that. I got the main shapes of the hair complete, so now we are going to refine those shapes. Also, her face is looking a little youthful, so we're probably going to add in some light wrinkles. Also, giving her more of a long face is really going to benefit. Why the long face? Again, the prompt here was so emaciated that if she was actually living, she would be dead. Because she is essentially a god. And by essentially, I mean she is. And because she is emaciated, not just old, that's why I'm going through with my sander brush. I'm removing key pockets. So there's nothing actually here in your skull. This is just an empty cavity, for example. So that's why that's getting hollowed out. Me watching me restart this project while staying positive, a true hero. Absolutely. I did like all the swearing in my head and like I had my little internal meltdown. I'm like, all right, meltdown over. It's time to get her done. But I still had the meltdown. It was just very small and very quick. Don't want to give me too much credit. Here we go. And then another thing I did on the main body is I actually made her neck quite a bit longer. I can do that, or I can just push her shoulders down. That will also give me the same effect. And then guess what we're gonna do, guys? We're gonna save the model. Dude, the way that my heart just dropped when I opened up my work in progress folder and nothing was in there, I was like, absolute panic. I knew immediately in that moment. I'm like, oh, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. But we're okay. And I feel like you guys can tell, like, this process right here, it's not as sexy, you know? I'm not being as, like, super detailed and talking through each and one of my points, and it's just harder to learn from, which is why I don't normally stream like this. But I do enjoy it from time to time. Oh, sorry, I made that comment about the itty bitty titty committee, and I was like, oh, she's boobless. Same. I remember that coming back to me now. And to be clear, I love my body. This is just not one of those things that I have, and that's okay. All right, and then this is kind of the fun part. It's just like, where does this rib cage terminate? And then we pretty much scoop out all of her insides. You know, just normal modeling things. Gonna bring her pelvis outwards. I know Reaper wants to rig this and stuff, and she will be able to do so. But that does not mean I'm going to make a perfectly accurate skeleton under here. We'll still do things with love and care, of course. So it's interesting because by making them look, you know, emaciated, essentially 0% body fat, it's gonna make her look more toned. It's kind of like a very sensitive line to walk. And then we're gonna have some pretty good hip dips going on here because there's a bone there, but no flesh. No flesh, just bone. See, this is why I don't live stream like me playing video games, because this is the kind of way I talk. We're also going to bring, so whenever it makes me emaciated, but for 3D printing, you can like carve down to show the foot bones, and I will do that lightly, but I'll more emphasize adding material to make things look emaciated, which I know is like not the way you'd normally think of it. But when you're dealing with stuff for 3D printing, you don't want to get too, like, you don't want to keep removing material because it's art, you know, it's already gonna be difficult when you're printing something that's so small. There we go. There's more of a pelvis here. All right, the body is somewhat recognizable to where it was. The neck still isn't as long. Wow, I went with a long neck. Honestly, a little bit too long. And then as far as the face looking, I think the face still looks a little bit better in my original, but a lot of that is due to poly paint. So let's come in with those rich purple tones and start adding in that bit of that makeup. And a bit of a sharper chin too. She's kind of got a funny thing going on with her mouth too, so we'll kind of round that out. And then the nose could be a little bit more severe. All right. Let's really kind of accentuate where the outside of the orbital eye socket would be. And I'm just using the standard brush. Sorry, damn standard brush for that. There we go. That's looking reminiscent of where we were. Feeling good about that. Let's organize our subtools a little bit because we already have quite a few of them to contend with here. And then of course, after the 30 minutes is up, we'll do a little review on what I'm recreating and why am I recreating it? Well, if you just tuned in, lovely peasant, I deleted my model. I didn't save it anywhere. So I have to work on it from scratch. Womp womp. She still doesn't look as old as the original I done. She looks a bit prettier, I think. There, narrowing her head and then elongating her face a touch will help with that. And again, she's allowed to be pretty. But I don't want to make like a youthful princess version of her just because I had to redo it. There we go. The body actually looks better than it did before. Cheers to that. All right, let's scroll on up and let's get the clothes worked on. Once I get this hair shape more similar to what I had before, because I really like the hair shape that I had. There we go. That's looking pretty good. Oh, I got this. All right, next up is going to be lowering the subdiv on the body and blocking out these fabric pieces. So when you're doing a skirt, you actually just mask out like a little belt, little belty belt. And then you go to extract at 0 thickness, mask the bottom, pull straight down, and enlarge. And you're like, oh goodness, the topology looks abysmal. You're correct. That's why you do ZBrush by same. If you're still a little too low poly, you can actually subdivide once and then ZBrush by half. That's also valid. And then I went ahead and masked a lumpier spot on the body, and you kind of see it already did like pseudo fabric folds for me. That was no accident. We're in hyperdrive mode right now, y'all. These are all the tricks that I do when I'm not streaming, which is never now, I guess, but you get the point. I wouldn't want to do this when I'm normally talking about fabric because that's really hard for like a newbie to recreate. Does that make sense? Like, okay, what spot on my model is lumpy enough, you know? So that's why I just make sure it's perfectly flat and then add fabric folds after the fact. All right, let's go ahead and give her a shirt. And we went with this really nice, like off the shoulder look. But when you're recreating it, it's easier to put the shoulders, like, or the sleeves a little higher and then pull them off. Give yourself lots of room around the armpit. Looks pretty good. I want this pretty low, kind of like a leotard, but not so low where I have to deal with sculpting her butt. That's too low. All right, looking pretty good. I also used fabric simulation on this last time, and that was also just more of a teachable moment. But we're not teaching, we're cooking. On a real note though, we are going to use some fabric sim because I think that's fun. All right, we're going to ZBrush and same because pretty much anytime I extrude or extract off of the base topology, I usually end up wanting to adjust it again. All right, and this was a richer purple. I'm gonna go a little bit more saturated than I did in the original because again, if we have to do this again, we're gonna do it better. I forgot to scoop out her guts. There we go. There's some scoopage. There we go. Excellent. There are some aspects of this that are looking a little bit more matronly. I kind of ended up on accident with this like sweetheart neckline, and I actually really like it. Look how severe that's looking. Oh, cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Next up is I do want to make her arms a touch longer because we're going to give her these beautiful long flowing sleeves. So make that a touch longer. Make sure we're not losing any important body landmarks still. And we're good. All right. This initial section will be a band right here. Hey, new sub. Thanks, Austin. Let's go ahead and extract this little band right here. And then we'll make these sleeves. Yeah, I do not have the chat up right now, but I will shortly. I got 15 minutes left. And then again, if anyone new is watching and they're like, you time yourself before you talk to the chat, just today. Just when I have to get work done. All right, and then next up is this beautiful draping sleeve. And to do that, you actually just make a normal sleeve. Go ahead and zero mesh so you don't have super janky topology. Inflate it just a tiny bit, and then just mask the bottom of it, and then drag straight down. And just like that, you got nice fancy sleeves. She's not looking as tall as the original that I made, and still not as old. But there's some other aspects that I think look better. So that always feels good. Again, if you're gonna have to redo something, you better do it better than the first time. Perfect. Yeah, before I think the ribcage was like so gigantic, it was kind of odd. I've made this a bit daintier. All right, next up is this belt. It's one of those belts that like weaves back on itself, and I don't really want to do that right now. So I'm gonna bring in one of my assets from my asset library. This one. Append long belt. And then we'll go with a dark color here. Oop, I didn't want to move her shirt. Get over there. And I don't like that there's the metal clasp on it because I just feel like this model would be more organic. It's the same way I think it's like what monks in D&D don't use anything that has metal on it. I think for more of like this medieval peasant look, this looks better. Still haven't figured out where I want this belt to be. And now that it's here, I don't really like it. Interesting. I didn't expect that. Let's make it just like a third color so it kind of stands out from both components. And then I'll sit it right on top of her hips. And I'm gonna go with a slightly different design that I did in my original attempt at this. Surprisingly needs to be a bit thinner. There we go. There we go. Get over there. I do think it's funny that like, it's not where you'd normally put a belt, right? But in the context of this design, it actually looks quite nice. I still need to adjust the knot and the way that's falling, but overall, pretty nice. What would a mirror and weld do to this? Yep. No, not at all. Also, what are these weird little artifacts? Oh, it's like the metal bits from the original. Okay, we don't need that. Delete hidden and scoot that on down. Perfect. I see a Lois says, let's go, the peasants are cheering. I know, I'm really doing it. It's really happening. Oh, where's ZBrush? It's okay if it crashed. We have save points, but it did crash. Look at the world testing me right now. It's okay. I wasn't even doing anything. Why did it crash? I wasn't even doing anything. I'm gonna take a sad sip of my smoothie for a second. All right, sad smoothie sip is over. That is the first time I've had ZBrush crash when I literally wasn't clicking on the program, so that was neat. that's okay. Some days, the world just like, I'm going to test you. And I'm like, that's fine. Try me. All right. We're also going to save because it is striking fear into my soul. Okay. We have saved. I can continue to talk smack. All right, let's get a little bit more poly paint in here. Not too much, just a little bit. All right, we have all of the same pieces that we had from the original. Now it's up to me to elevate the face to the same level as it was before, because I do think the original face was better, which is not surprising because I spent like an hour on it. Anyway, I'm gonna go try to use my colors matte cap here and see if it makes my scene look better. More or less. It's a bit dark. That's because the light's all the way to the side. Here we go. Very good. Render, make sure ambient occlusion is on. It's a little too much. Calm down. Very good. All right, so we started with this and now we are here. Let's go. It's been like 30 minutes. I told you guys I worked a lot slower on stream. This is what I'm talking about. And I wouldn't have it any other way, to be clear. I love hanging out with you guys, and this is not sustainable. I can't work this fast all the time. I think I would just disintegrate into dust. And we can't have that. But it is like a little superpower I have when needed. However, the villain just isn't usually myself. I was the villain today, though. Cannot believe I did not save this. You guys are gonna tell Reaper about this, and I'll be like, what do you mean? I'm gonna act like this did not happen. I'm like, you have no proof. The model's right here. Give her slightly longer nails, but not just like literal claws. I'm feeling very happy that this is looking so nice so quickly. It didn't have to. I could have just worked on it just as slow. Again, business is great. I'm not in a rush to actually like get stuff out for production or anything like that. This was about the principle. Neato. All right, let's see here. What else is going on? I really want to look at the chat. But I need to get a little bit more work done on this face. Okay. So I actually think this face looks better than the one I did before, but it's too appealing, if that makes sense. I don't want to lose the essence of what I had before. And the one before did have a little bit more personality. And some of that was in the softness of the mouth, but also just her overall expression. So I'm going to kind of start navigating that. We're not giving her a smile necessarily, but there's a softness to this character because, I mean, she's lived so long. Absolutely ancient. And I want that to reflect, and there needs to be some subtlety and some age here. So I'd like to give her like some smile lines, something subtle. And then come through with my standard brush, because the answer is always the standard brush. And really just refine this jawline and some of that, like I mentioned, like with people that are very emaciated and kind of think of it like thin fabric. So that's what we're going to try to navigate right here. I didn't know I'd have time to refine this. I got 4 minutes. I think we seriously did this in 30 minutes. Let's go. All right, so right now I'm removing a lot of material underneath her eye, and that's just to really reveal the, you know, the hole in your head. What is it? Orbital socket. I'm gonna turn on lazy radius for my sander brush, so that way I have a little bit of smoothness to these lines I'm adding in. There we go. She's starting to look a little softer. I think she has too many eyelashes. Let's remove one. These are like those subtle details that are really going to add a lot. So there's pretty much a giant like hole right here. Don't get me wrong, but obviously she is still somewhat living. If she was not a god, she would be dead. But that means that we're not going to just literally carve everything out. There's going to be some material that stretches across her face. Kind of like striations. That's the word I'm looking for. There's also a hollow cavity right behind your eye right here in the brow. I don't know what happens to your ears when you get really skinny. I will look that up later. So I'm just going to make them a little longer right now because your nose and ear are suspended cartilage and those never stop growing. That's why old people have bigger ears and bigger noses. Fun fact. Kind of gave her a little bit of like jowls right here, which I don't know if I like that or not. All right, so now I'm taking these lines. See how this kind of curves? There's a lot going on. I want more like straightness to show that the skin is being stretched. And I can push those cheekbones up to give her more of a long face and less of a weird chin. Wow, why did your chin get so weird? When did that happen? There we go. I was like, wait a minute. Who did this to you? It's me. There we go. And I can use Move Topological to kind of move her hair just a touch. Need to narrow her face just a touch. And then somehow she's still looking younger than the original, even though it's the same base mesh. And one of the things you can do to fix that is it's like if you make a triangle between like your eyes and your nose, the shorter that triangle, the more baby. So by elongating that, they'll look older. But again, faces are very sensitive, so like adjust gently. There we go, she's looking older. Oops, not that one. And then these little dudes are just a touch too long. Wow, I feel like this is the longest 30 minutes ever. Holy crap, I got 1 minute left. I don't know, I just thought that I'd be more pressed for time. Sweet. And there we go. That is 30 minutes. All right, peasants. I'm coming back to the chat. Oh, I used poly paint. That's why she looks older too. It's like up here I had a darker shadow. That's it. I was like, sculpturally these look very similar. Why different? It's poly paint. I knew it. Ah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, okay. Well, I hope you guys didn't burn the place down while you were unattended, briefly. I had to just kind of whip out like a whole character, so don't worry about it. Okay. I'm back. Hey, Show's here. Hello, hello. How far do you need to scroll back? Oh, this is great. I don't think there's anything that's too important. I think we're good. There's something about Dragon Ball Z. Very good. All right. So, color scheme is different than the original. I'm realizing that now. I didn't even see red earlier. But, essentially, this model, I didn't save it. I forgot. And I worked on that for like 2 hours. So I just did it in 30 minutes. So I did. Feeling pretty good about it. Yes, I will save now. And I've saved a couple times throughout this, but that was traumatic. All right, we're good. Emperor says, instructions unclear. Locked in cage with Molotov. I can't help you. This model came together so fast. Yeah. Hello, it says, Mia, can you press play on my GIF, please, so it plays? My caption doesn't make sense otherwise, and I've sat with it for 30 minutes. Oh, cute. I love it. It's me. And there's my peasants. That's very cute. Yes, all is restored. All is well again. Also, I'm realizing right now that in the final, I ended up with the exact same style belt that I ended up with now, which is super funny to me. Because I thought I was making a change from the original. Nope. I talk about consistency. Ray says, I can imagine this model hitting on Disney Prince to try to steal his vitality. I kind of love it. The dragon says, you did this to yourself with your debauchery. Is that when I caused ZBrush to crash from just sitting here? That was traumatic. Yeah, that was me at zoom in. Oh my goodness. Okay. We did it. So in 30 minutes, we went from this to this. Jeez. I did what needed to be done. And what did it cost? Everything. No, I'm just kidding. I know I am much more tired. But now we're good. Everything is fine. She looks a bit more matronly in this one too, which is nice. She's supposed to have a motherly vibe to her. Oh, cool. I don't want to look at this model anymore. We're gonna come back to this some other time. And when Reaper's like, why haven't you worked on my model in a while? I'll be like, in my head, I'm like, I've done it twice. At least it's a great design too. Like, it's not something that I wasn't looking forward to. Making some small adjustments. Man, that was a bitch in 30 minutes. Very pleased. Ray says, well done, Mia. You worked outstandingly fast. Thank you. The bone incident. What happened? Maybe it's best if I just don't know. All right, I don't think we need so many strandies of hair. Too many strands. Ooh, way too many strands. How about just these two? There, more simple. We are able to refine now that I can breathe again. She's very pretty. What a cool character. All right, why won't you be the right color? Oh, because it's not selected. There's the body. Excellent. I'm going to save this model, and then I'm going to save it again. And then I'm going to upload it to Google Drive. Because this was ridiculous and not going to happen again. All right, class, what did we learn today? Don't forget to save your work, and if you get too complacent with quick saves, it might be your undoing. Very good. Class dismissed. But did I freak out? Only a little bit. We're going to save it as Reaper, and now we're going to upload it. Yeah, nobody tell Mini Plays, please, for the love of God. I am actually low-key not joking. Ray, don't even start with me. Yeah, it was super speed. Yeah, not mad about it for 30 minutes. And now, I don't know what I'm going to work on, but it's not this. I'm done with this for right now. This is going into a super secret archive backup. I'm gonna have like 50 copies of this. 100 years from now, people are gonna find random Reaper ZPRs in their MacBook and they won't know why. Yes, I have saved it and I have uploaded it onto Google Drive. David says, to be fair, I forget things very easily on so your on-stream secret is safe with me. That's the best kind of friend. Like, don't tell anyone. Like, no problem. What was that? All right, we're coming up on 4 hours. So even though I didn't mean to get done, didn't get done what I meant to today, I'm still gonna count it as a block because I did the freaking work. Let's just not talk about that I did it before. So this will be Reaper blockout in 30 minutes. Let's go. And then details in progress, but I'll give myself more time for that. Okay. Today was only a 2-block day, which makes me a little sad, but I had a lot of fun during today's stream, and I think you guys did too, so I can call that a win. In case you're wondering what I mean by blocks, so I give myself 4 blocks for every model, and those stages are those stages are block out, detail, pose prep, and post process. And it doesn't take me an hour to prep for posing, but I like to give myself some wiggle room within that. So that's why it's 4 hours total. So yeah. Ray says, man, do not burn through your Google Drive storage. It's quite small compared to OneDrive. OneDrive. Don't even get me started on OneDrive. Sorry, I hate Windows. I have 119 gigs of stuff in my Google Drive. And that is every model I have ever made, 3 versions each one, all my current ZPRs, and yeah, the 1,000 models. So, yeah, we're fine. Oh, it's also every unposed ZPR from the last 6 months. So now we're good. Dragon says, I'll make a virus that downloads Reaper to your photos. Amazing. Oh, I'm so happy with this. I did it. Very good. What's wrong with OneDrive? It's like every time I open like my computer, it was an advertisement for OneDrive, and I'm like, stop. And then it was like, okay, we'll stop. And then Windows would update, almost blow itself up, and then be like, would you like OneDrive? I'm like, no, I still don't want it. That's why. Yes, a huge part of ZPR file size is undo history, and I do not use that. I do not save it. Oh my god, the shade. Aloha said, a huge part of the file size is undo history, which Mia doesn't save, I believe. Next message, along with Reaper's models. Filthy. Absolutely filthy. Whatever, we're in the last call. Done with you guys. On a real note, thank you for supporting me. I was going to lose my fucking mind, but I didn't. I got them all done. Also, filthy. Okay. Tomorrow will be normal scheduled content, I believe. And new models. Unless Ricky poses stuff tonight, and then I'll be cleaning those up. Crazy week, y'all. Empress says you cannot be done with us. It's been almost 4 hours. Oh, I see. We will be back tomorrow. Very good. We will haunt your Discord. Yeah, I do wonder if I just like never sign back in the Discord and I just like disappeared off the face of the internet. Like, how long would you guys be here? I don't know. Oh, look, Tavern quotes. Oh my god, do you want some bone pictures? As in skeletons. Oh, I see the bone incident. I know what's happening now. This was in the chat from earlier. I understand now. Oh, that's beautiful. Very good. I left you guys alone for 30 minutes. I would assimilate the brand within 24 hours, keep the idea of M3DM running. I've always wondered about that, Aloha. Like, you're learning so much, and I mean, you already had a lot of skills to start with. And then just by being around making graphics and like seeing the behind the scenes, you've learned so much. And I'm like, when are Aloha streams happening? I don't know. I would never be upset if like you took everything you learned here and then like made your own like boss business. Like, do it. Cheryl says, after I lost 5 hours of work once, I bought a 3 SSD, 4 terabyte each, and saved everything every 5 minutes. I feel that. I save every 3 minutes and it wasn't enough. Aloha says, Aloha streams would be peak of the internet, I fear. Don't fear greatness. Okay, I'm going to rest and emotionally recover from this stream. Don't tell Reaper and don't tell Mini Blades. I'm going to see how long my peasants can keep a secret. I'm going to go with 1 day, assuming none of you guys have already DM'd or tagged them. On a real note, this was great. It was fun to show you guys like how fast I can get stuff done. So it's cool. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow around noon Eastern time. So as early as 11, as late as 1. Noonish. See you guys then. Take care of yourselves. Bye.